and once in a while, it's pretty close to the light cream, and I grab the hazelnut. Oh my God, I taste it all day long. I can't even drink it. Can't stand hazelnut.
Yeah, I don't like, I'm not a hazelnut person either. It's just so, so I'll tell you later. I don't like the word hazel. We do have, thank goodness, we have a couple of outspoken representation within our legislature, New Jersey, Brian being one of them, Paul Kenitra, and Dawn Fantasia, and they are calling out these bills. And you have to see the video of him, calling out this ridiculous bill. He even got scolded by the speaker. It's just so ridiculous. I'm just laughing. It's just hilarious.
Well,
And we have a million and one problems.
well, and again, it's mostly due to our state legislature, right? So we understand this. Hey, I had a guy call me yesterday, and years ago I took a boat from Chinook Inlet in New York, and I brought it down here to Cape May. And when we had gone through there, that was the area where the Empire Wind was going to go in, and Empire Wind kept going. So they have it between the northbound traffic and the southbound traffic shipping lanes coming out of the New York harbor, right? So now all these windmills are installed there. He was blown away. He couldn't wait to call me this morning because he's like, "You were right. You were right. I told you I was right."
Yeah. They, people don't actually want to believe it till they see it, and it's just like, putting things out. But talking with my neighbor the other day, and like I said, when we say talking to people, talk to your neighbors, talk to your coworkers that are friends, it's really amazing, and there is a lot more people awake on things than and that's what he was talking about. We were talking about a post. He wrote a page for our community, and it was a well-intentioned post that somebody had put out. However, there's a catch to it. Not that I agree with it, but apparently, this sex offender gotten released in Dover, and for really, it was bad. For what he got a release for, but when a sex offender does get released in the neighboring area, the cops do have the obligation. The police officers, they have an obligation, and they go around and they do tell the surrounding neighbors that there's a sex offender in your neighborhood, blah blah blah, this and that. But if there's a release page and there's anything,
Julie, that was Megan's law. Remember?
Yes, and there is a. Yes, and there is a website you can look at to find out where every sex offender location is in the state of New Jersey, and pretty much I think at every state that's doable. However, if there is a police report or some sort of a rap sheet or whatever that gets released, that cannot be posted. Apparently, that is not allowed to be posted on social media, and it says it right on the paper. Whether you agree with it or not, I'm not saying you do, and neither did my friend who runs the community page. However, if you do post this, you could be liable, and that's his page. He's a realtor. He can lose his license because it is given out by the state. And so it started this whole thing. But anyway, so we were talking about that. But then he brought up about Mikey Sherrill and what's going on in Delaney Hall. He's like, can you believe that? He goes, she gave that, the $20 million. She's increasing that for the illegals. But yet we have crumbling schools all over the place. I said, I know. This is why everybody in the state needs to get involved with these things. Start going to your school board meetings. Start going to your town hall meetings, because this is happening everywhere without people really knowing what's going on. They might see little things here and there, or they might see things that are in the national, which is on the news, but they're not seeing what's going on in their own county because they're not looking in their own backyard.
No, they want to sit on X and blame everybody else. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What a way to start out there, Julie. So good to see you. Happy Friday. Hey, maybe we can say hello to Sovereign and Tinfoil. I seen you guys popped up. I know Truth jumped up. Rule.
Morning.
Good morning. I have exciting news. I could
All
share
right.
with
As
the
long
class.
as you don't have the Krabbies today, you're good. Good morning.
Today I do not have the Krabbies, thank you. So I finally got an emotional support kitty. Oh, did you hear?
Well, that's good. That's good. And hey, a cat can change your life. I love my cat. He's like that commercial. Did you ever see that commercial? You know, the Temptations or whatever, and the cat doesn't know her, right? And they're in the limo, and the cat's looking at her sideways. That's what my cat does. Anyway, good to see you. Good to see you. Tin, how you doing this morning? And we'll say hello to Truth.
I'm doing pretty good, Marlon. And Sovereign, I just want to say congratulations on the kitty. She sounds awesome. I love kitties. I'm a big fan of kitties. But I just found out that the Department of War released the third release of the UFO documents this morning. So I've been looking through those. Definitely some interesting documents. They're actually showing a little bit more of the different crafts and stuff and the ships that they've seen. There's one particular document I found interesting, especially, I guess, the anti-copying method they used on it back in the 40s. I remember hearing something about using a red filter to kind of look actually at the document. So I got it in Photoshop, trying to look at it and using red filtering on it, and it seems to be working a little bit. So it's been kind of an interesting morning, just kind of looking through the different documents, and I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Well, thanks for that, Tin, and definitely, hey, post that out. We got to make sure people see that, right? Hey, yesterday on the way home, I had to go to Brigantine yesterday, do an estimate, and it was, I mean, boiling down there, 95 right there on the beach. It was hot, right? So anyway, we stopped in this Spanish restaurant in Hamilton on the way home, and the place is, well, it wasn't full when I got in there, but the Mexico South Africa soccer game was started. So that was there's three places that the World Cup is playing. They're playing in Philadelphia, they're playing in Mexico City, and they're playing in Canada somewhere. I don't know where they're playing that in Canada. But
Well, USA is starting this weekend playing in California, I believe.
There must be a couple of different cities because Philadelphia has one. The first match is Sunday at 7, and they're expecting thousands and thousands of people to show up. Remember, Philadelphia burns whether we win, lose, or draw. That city always burns.
Wait till you see what's going to happen in New York City.
Well, let's see what happens. Maybe maybe the New York State Police will step in this time. Maybe, I don't know.
You're funny.
Well, hey, they were making a big deal about Mikey Sherrill calling in, or Shirley or whatever her name is, Sherrill, calling in the state police and then quickly disembarking them, right? And it just continued. They don't have a steady post there.
Well, no, because that was that whole big thing that Defender and everything they all found, looked into, and it was Ross Baraka, the mayor of Newark. And that was just a show. That was just a show to say, oh yeah, we're really doing something. They weren't doing anything, and they're going to keep perpetuating this until something happens, until something gives. They are looking to get ICE to kill somebody so that they can start this whole big thing again, just like in Minnesota. This is what this is. It's disgusting. It's sad. And and like I said, Tom Homan he said it right on Fox News. Not not that I want to promote Fox News, but he said it. He said, "Listen, they want to close this down. They want to keep doing what they're doing. We're not going to stop. We're not going to leave New Jersey. We'll just move them. We'll just move them to another facility. So if they want to keep doing what they're doing, let them keep doing it, and we'll just move everybody to another facility, and then that'll make it harder for their families and whatever to come visit and do all that stuff that they're saying that we're already preventing. So let them go ahead and try that stuff, because we'll just move them. I just hope they do. I would love to see them move them.
They'll move too, because Indivisible every state has, I'm pretty sure almost every state has an Indivisible local chapter that is working in conjunction and organizing with other smaller nonprofits. So they'll just move. Like, a lot of those people that are arrested there aren't even from New Jersey, so they'll just follow it.
Paid protesters, right? I mean, Ed Durr, Ed the trucker, he's been reporting on this just about every day. He does a spiel on it. So, Julie, I don't know what happened. You kind of broke up there and then you dropped out.
I got kicked out. I don't know what happened. I guess I must have been saying too much.
I don't think so. Anyway, well, let's say hello to Truth. Truth, how you doing this morning? Happy Friday.
Yep. I'm just watching the IPO for SpaceX today because they've got it on trading halt. FYI, if anybody's into stocks and trading.
Of course.
Yeah. Anyway, it's they determine the opening price at $135 a share. So it's what it started at this morning, but they've got a trading halt on it. So nobody can really do anything with it. And they're apparently saying, because they're expecting news today about it. So whatever.
Yeah, I don't. What I think the IPO price was $135. Am I right there?
Yep, $135 a share. That's what their IPO is. Initial public offering, for anybody who doesn't know what the heck we're talking about.
So, do you think at $135 a share, do you think it's worth it to invest in that? It sounds, I guess, relative, really. I mean, $135 for Apple right now would be a great deal, right? This is a company that's proven it's over and over, and it doesn't sound like Elon's going to stop. I would say the 135, although that's steep, maybe that's going to be worth, triple that. We'll see.
I believe he's about to become the first trillionaire.
Well, there's been other trillionaires. Bezos and blah, blah, blah. But you mean the next?
I didn't think
No,
Bezos was a
he's the
billionaire. I
first.
thought he was a billionaire. He's going to be the first.
He'll be the first trillionaire.
Yeah. Well, apparently 80%.
Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. Got it.
No, I was saying apparently 87% of they out there that do, the analysts or whatnot say that the stock will open and beat its initial price of $135 a share. I mean, what are we investing in? Are you investing in Elon? Or are you investing in space exploration? I mean, I always would tell people, if they're investing, invest in a company that you use, a product that you believe in. That's why a lot of these blue chip, especially like if it pays a dividend. So, I don't know. It's all hoopla as far as I'm concerned. And again, what are we investing in? There's so much unknown with space. Now, if you're investing in the fact that he's creating an internet, which he's talked about, that's run from satellites and other interplanetary is what he was calling it, then sure, that could be huge profit. You know what I mean? So anyway.
Well, did you see the giant inflatable thing they put in Times Square of him? And then there was like they're saying SpaceX is run for child rapists. They got a ketamine tattoo on his arm. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what they're trying to spoil what's going on. Somebody's trying to put him in a bad picture, but that's going on right now in Times Square.
Yeah, I bet 25% or more of the people there doing that also have child porn on their computers.
Yeah. Again, listen, even in Pittman, New Jersey, when I went to a Jack rally, there was paid protesters there, right? I know just about the entire town of Pittman, and I didn't recognize one person in the crowd. That's crazy, right? We know it. We know that they're paying protesters to go there. You know, now we look back, and even, you know, when COVID was there, and really the East Coast Wing Project really got up and running, you know, these were the people that were paid. You know, there was a list of aquariums and Sierra Club and Greenpeace, and all these people were black and white. They got paid to keep their mouth shut. So if they did it then, how long have they been doing it? I'm just talking about all the subjects, even back to, you know, 2001 with 9/11. You know, it's like, how many detractors or narratives have we followed because that's what they wanted us to do? Even the Iraq War, when we invaded there, right? Well, I mean, you know, think about the propaganda. We only told Iraq we were coming for a year. I mean, it's just so, it's over the top. I look back now and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe I was so naive. And then I look in my state government. Whew, it's just as bad. Yo, you look in your county government, just as bad. Look in your township government.
I mean, you argue a lot of the framework for the environment we live in was started getting set up in the 90s and then early 2000s. By 2010, they started opening up all these NGOs all across the country. And then by 2012, Obama remodernized the Smith-Mundt Act, right, which then allowed the media to just go ahead and, you know, regurgitate all that propaganda with no repercussions. And then now we're in 2026 and we see all the demographics and how they're being utilized.
Well, here you go. There's a story out there. There's a wind project off of Portugal. Oh, there are octopus that have moved in, and they're flourishing with these fads. I mean, this is the kind of propaganda that we're up against. Oh, look, you know, hey, they can give out whaling permits, but they're more interested in the octopus that's making a home in their, you know, in their wind tube. I mean, come on, man.
Hey, speaking of water, did you see yesterday the executive order that Trump signed about the opening up the fishing area, that 500 square miles that Obama had shut down, and is opening it back up for the American fishermen? The ironic thing is that the area that they closed down, all that area that American fishers couldn't do, they were still allowed to do it if you were from another country. You were still allowed to come in and fish there. If you were American, you couldn't fish there. Oh, I put it in the bubble. Yeah, and he had on he had representation from a lot of different states, and then, you know, some big names like Sig, and what is his name from the crab fishing boat thing? That guy Sig Anderson, is that his name? Sig something.
Sig Hansen.
Sig Hansen, that's it. Right. Yeah.
I'm funny. There must be a delay, Julie. You got to have some kind of delay going on. Sig Hansen, you know, he's deadly as catch, right? He's been one of the most outspoken ones. He's been there since the very beginning. And I know that Mad Dog, when he came in here and talked about that, his boat is actually registered in Oregon. So you're telling me that now you're going to shut down the Northwestern and Sig Hansen on being able to fish for crabs, 10 salmon? I mean, you know, they got to be up in arms.
Well, no, they Trump reopened all this area for them to fish in. He's opening it for them. So this is something that was closed down by Obama. So this is not even from the Biden administration. This is this 500 square miles that was prime fishing land that the Americans couldn't fish in, but Europeans could. So yeah, it was a big deal. I put it in the bubble. You know, he was there. They were there yesterday when he signed this, and then I know there was some fishermen from Maine also. And is my do I sound better now that I turned on my Wi-Fi, Marlon?
Yeah, you don't have a delay now. You had a delay.
So egg prices are going to go down. Seafood's going to go down. Gas is going to go down. I mean, what else are we missing here, right?
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because gas has been dropping in Jersey pretty quick. Barrel, I think oil was down like $3.50 today. So I think it was down to like $82. So it's almost back to where it was before the conflict. And then, you know, hey, we're supposed to hear it's supposed to drop off because there's no shortage in oil. It was a logistics problem.
Mm-hmm. And the eggs were just the chickens that were culled by Biden. And then Julie brought up the seafood issue that Obama did. Felt like every single market that we've had access to as consumers has been extorted and leveraged against us to prop up this fictitious economy that the Democrats have been trying to roll out forever.
I would agree, man. And, you know, the egg shortage. And I want you guys to remember one thing, man. I told you guys that copper was going up. Copper's probably one of the biggest additives that they put in the steel cans to actually make canned foods. Canned foods are supposed to go through the roof here because copper's so high. Copper's like $6.45 a pound. And I'm telling you right now, that is an extraordinary number. That number for copper has never been so high.
Well, isn't copper good for us?
Well, you mean physically?
Yes, for our bodies. Like drinking out of copper, a lot of copper stuff. Like, doesn't it provide like electrical currents that our body needs?
Yep. So does glass. You know, copper does it. You know, that's why they make chalices out of copper's antimicrobial, right? So is silver and gold. That's why they make the chalices out of silver and gold. This way, when people have germs and their mouth is on that, you have the little napkin, but still there's germs left behind, and there's an alkaline in that metal that kills the germ. That's why they use silver and gold. Let's go to Russell. Russell, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Happy Friday, Marlon. I would just listen to you guys talk about that the fishing deal. That all happened off in the Pacific Ocean. They reopened the fishing grounds out there, and I grew up out there. And the bad part of it is they've had it screwed up so long that all those fishermen that had the equipment to do it are not there anymore. And needless to say, with the economy like it is, I don't know what it would cost to gear up to go do it again, but surely wouldn't be profitable very quickly, you wouldn't think. But that's just my 2 cents worth from living out there.
I would like to go there. You know, I've never experienced Oregon or Washington Coast. I think that would be, you know, I always wanted to go to Sitka. I always wanted to do that Pacific. I've never done that. A lot of guys go to Alaska. They go up there salmon fishing, halibut fishing. I've never gotten to do it. One day. I'm told that Alaska is one of the last states that you should visit because they said it tops every other state for spots in the world. That's what I hear. I can't wait to see it.
Right. Well, the Pacific it's a whole different kind of fish, and I lived in Florida and in California. And it's a different fish. The fish out there, the red snapper out there, are in the cod family, and it's very bountiful out there. I mean, I used to go right behind Catalina Island fish and Anacapa Islands. That's where I grew up, right off the coast of the Anacapa Islands, and it's a whole different thing. And I met an old man one time I was taking a train up to pick up my girlfriend and ride back with her, and he was heading to Alaska to go barn door halibut fishing, and he made it. You know, I don't know. I'm sure he's probably gone by now, but he used to do it every year, and he showed me some pictures of some huge halibut. everybody knows there's no better fish, I don't think, than halibut or fillet of sole or whatever you want to, the two eyes on one side fish, you know what I mean? But it's beautiful out there, Marlon. You'd enjoy the hell out of it. We used to ditch school and hotwire my buddy's dad's boat and go fishing.
Now that's a good cut day, man.
Yeah, it is. It was really good until we got caught. We went fishing one time and his dad didn't drink at all. And here we are. We took the boat out. It was a 32-foot dual engine Chris Craft with two twin 327s at the bottom. And we hardwired it. And we went out as far as half the tank would take us, then turn around and come back. And sure enough, we got back to the dock. There his dad was standing right on the end of the dock. And here we come with a couple of cases of beer bottles off. You know, we actually moored it up like we knew what we were doing. I mean, it's, you know, and he just shook his head. And needless to say, I just looked at my buddy and said, "All right, John, I'll see you later." But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you know, hey, you better have some experience. But yeah, my father's got a story like that. My brother stole his boat. Ended up having to call the Coast Guard. So, you know, they all got called. You know, here his son stole their partner, him and his partner's boat. I mean, he was so embarrassed, you know, but most of the boats, you know, down there, I mean, it ain't much to get these things running. Usually they got the keys hid, you know, I don't care how big that boat is. So hey, it is Friday, right? We're kind of boiling down to the weekend, and you know, it's literally boiling here. I mean, it is like 85 degrees already. I'm drenched, man. I got a ring around my neck, and yep. That's it sounds like it's supposed to chill out on Sunday or something. We're supposed to get some weather.
Yeah, it's starting to be the dog days of summer. Like I said, we didn't have a spring. We went from one of the worst winters around here with being cold, not snow or anything, cold, and then really having no spring, and now jumping right into summer. It's like we can't get that nice even keel. So it's like either to one extreme or the other.
Okay, you know, hey, I love my garden and I have a bird feeder. And I told you guys that I was battling these squirrels, right? And Russell, I think you saw the post that I put up with, I put a slinky on the pole, right? Now these squirrels are like heavily educated. When I tell you that my wife witnessed the squirrel, you know, some bitch is smart. He doesn't go up. They were going in between the pole and the slinky, right? Well, this one, he thought it was a great idea. He pushed the slinky up to the top of the pole. The squirrel pushed the slinky to the top of the pole so he could get on it. You talk about smart. I'm battling all kinds of things, man. I'm battling my garden. They keep stealing my plants, my potato plants, my celery, you know, and Julie, you know how much I love my peaches. You know, I only have 3 peaches on my tree this year.
Well, that's not good. So, but
that's
you know,
that heavy frost that we got in the spring, right? When the blossoms came out, we got a heavy frost.
well, you know, Mikey Sherrill said she was going to do things for the for all the farmers that lost all their crops because of the early frost that we were having and all this stuff that ruined everything. So maybe she'll help you too. Maybe she'll help with you get some more peaches there. Go ask her. I think she'll help you.
Yeah, fat chance on that. Jenna, how you doing? Good to see you.
I'm good, but I'm battling squirrels here too. They messed up all my roses seedlings in my garden. And I have like just small raised gardens. And I finally said, no, you know what? We're doing breakfast for dinner. And my husband just kind of looked at me and he goes, what the hell are you planning on now? And I go, you'll see. I took those eggshells and I stuck them out on my grill on a pan. And I actually dried them out and broke them up. Squirrels don't like that shit on their feet.
Well, it's, Jenna, when my wife and I, we've been battling this for a while, right? So, I mean, it was so bad that the squirrel, after he got up past the slinky, he's crashed out on the bird feeder. He's wrapped around the bird feeder, just kind of like just shoveling the stuff off.
Did you try the metal bowls they have that slide up your the poles that your bird feeders are on? They make like these upside down, these metal bowls that actually slide up a bird feeder pole, or you can modify them and put them right to the bottoms of the bird feeder. They can't get past them. There's nothing to climb on because they're metal. They slide right off. I sit here every once in a while, and one of my neighbors has one, and I watch these stupid squirrels try climbing up that pole and getting past that bowl that's on the bottom of it. It's like watching monkeys do math, man. You would laugh your ass off. But try those metal bowls that go to the bottom. You do all that kind of stuff. Fashion like a, maybe even tin or whatever. Any kind of metal works. If it's wood, they'll figure out a way to get through it. If it's anything else, they'll figure out how to get through it, or they'll climb it.
Well, you remember, the cones that you put around your dog, your cat when he's sick and he's not allowed to lick it. They put them big cones. So I had this cone, and I'm like, oh man, he can't get by that. And this son of a bitch reached on the outside, got around this cone, and back up the pole. And I'm flabbergasted.
It's plastic. It's plastic,
Yeah.
Marlon. It's porous. They can get those little claws that they have in there. Try the metal. Even if you have like some sheet tin or something like that, fashion it up. Make sure you cover that seam. If you fashion your own, take and coat it with some kind of like inside though, not on the outside, inside. So they can't peel it off. Because I watch those little bastards even peel that off.
So we tried the hot pepper, right? The squirrels are supposed to be like, they have receptors for hot pepper. Birds don't, right? So we mixed all this cayenne with it. we coated the outside rim. And then the older squirrels, I think we saw one of them, right? One of them he ate some and he went down and he was flipping out and he was spinning around. But the other ones just went right through it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, they have no brains. They will eat all that pepper. I actually took and I pasted dry peppers to the outside of one of mine, and they still ate those damn peppers. And they freak out. Their tails start whipping around. They start rolling around, dragging their face through the dirt. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Hilarious. But
All
to
right, so
watch
listen, this is my theory, okay? These animals are just learning to adapt more. They're learning to get smart because we're taking all their goddamn land away from them. So they're like, this is it, man. We're gonna take our territory back.
the squirrel revolt.
You're right, Julie.
Funny, but to watch that thing push that slinky up that pole, the slinky looks like, you can't even use the slinky. They bend it all up, and and to watch him push that thing up the pole with his nose.
Oh, I got a funny story to tell you too. So the other night, my neighbor was telling me that, there was this skunk. I saw him walk by our backyard. He's almost all white. It's, I never saw a skunk like that before. And I was like, oh, really? So, I didn't think nothing of it. Just like, our townhouse is kind of back up to a little bit of wood. So I wouldn't, not expect this kind of wildlife to wander through every once in a while. Well, the other night, my husband, my car was parked up in a parking spot and he found a closer parking spot for his car. So he wanted to move mine. He calls me and I'm like, what is he calling me for? And I'm like, what are you calling me for? He's like, I can't come in because there's a skunk on our front porch. So this skunk's apparently trying to either find a place to have a nest or do something because he's been hanging around. So I went to the front door. I saw him down in underneath the brush. So I just banged on my front door and he took off. But yeah, so now we have a little bit of a skunk problem.
It's funny. It's like it's like Marty Stafford's world out there. Yeah, we got a white skunk running around. Okay, Jenna, and then hey, I got to step away, man. I'll be right back.
We have those kind of skunks, Julie. They're like all white. They're beautiful, albinos, but just a word of what might be going on. You might have a lot of grubs in the ground. They will hang out and they'll take a rest after they like dig through your lawn. If you find like little dug up spots where the grass is disturbed and there's like a little hole, they're finding grubs. So they're actually doing you a favor by taking all those grubs out that'll destroy your landscaping and whatnot. If you want to move them, start leaving a meat trail. Get cheap bologna and start cutting it up into little strips and just leave a trail. And they'll follow that trail of that meat. Because when I worked for Toshiba years ago, I used to feed a whole family full of skunks. And they'd be like sitting all around me and everybody's like, you have skunks sitting by you? And I'm like, yeah, I feed them. And they're like, what the? Yeah, the stream of words that came out. And I'm like, dude, man, these skunks don't bother you unless you bother them. And I said, I feed them, they leave me be. So, yeah, you might have a grub problem in your ground and they're just doing you a favor getting rid of them. They do also eat ticks because I have possums and skunks and they just commingle like however, but they're doing you a favor, honestly. And like I said, grab that cheap pack of bologna, like cheap, and start leaving them a food trail and they'll get away from your place.
Oh yeah. Now I'm not bothered by it. I mean, when it comes on the front porch, we can't get in the front door. I mean, that's kind of a problem. But other than that, it doesn't bother me. For the last few years, we've seen less wildlife around. I don't know what the landscapers were told to put down on the grounds, but we used to, like, when we first moved in, there was rabbits, there was, squirrels are always squirrels. We're always going to see them. They're just like, they're just a different breed. But, it's kind of nice to see wildlife kind of coming back again. I don't really care. As long as I don't get sprayed and as long as he, doesn't get into my dryer vent or whatever like that. I don't really care what he does. But, it was just funny because my husband was just like, if you don't hear me come in, it's because there's a skunk on our front porch. But anyway, thank you very much for that. Good morning, Miles. How are you?
Am I in the right space? Is this Critter World space? We're just talking about critters, right?
What space?
So, I know Marlon stepped away. There was something really interesting that happened yesterday in the Oval Office. Did you guys see that?
Were you talking about the fishing thing? Because we were just talking about that.
Yeah, it's interesting because, Obama, he was, saying some crap that we couldn't fish. And, but everybody else could, But I'm glad he changed that. But the people that were in the office, there was a guy, the most dangerous catch.
Hanson, yeah, we were just talking about that. Central Casting?
He was on The Apprentice, and he was a dick when he was on there. And did you hear what he said to Trump? He goes, when you fired me, I became a lot nicer to my employees. Did you pick that up?
No, it was great. I did catch that, but we didn't talk about that part. But yeah, because I forgot that he was on The Apprentice a few years ago, when Trump had the show and everything. But
so what I wanted to do after that, I'm in Minnesota. I mean, technically we have 13,000 lakes, and there's so much fish in the lakes. And evidently, it's very restrictive. We can't take a catch. Like, let's say I caught a really nice walleye, and I can't take it to a restaurant and have them cook it. And there are so many restrictions on just fresh catch that you can actually cook in restaurants. We have to import. Why do we have to import something that we have millions of in this state? So, hopefully a lot of this crap will stop saying, oh, we got to, protect the planet. The planet's fine. What about us? Why can't we enjoy the planet? So, Yeah, I think that'll change. I mean, years ago, I was a bartender at a fine dining Chinese place, and we got all our fresh walleye. Now, granted, that was in the late 80s. We got it from Rainy Lake. Now, Rainy Lake, it borders Canada. So, the fish are going back and forth, into Canada.
Miles.
And
Hey,
yeah.
Miles. Hey, I fished Rainy Lake.
Oh, cool. It's a big lake. You know how big that lake is. So yeah, I mean the walleye are great out of this state, and that's not the only game fish that we have. I mean, we have muskie, we have northern pike, we have so many different species here, and they should be able to cook them in restaurants so you can have fresh fish. That's all I gotta say. That's my rant.
Miles, have you ever been to Lake of the Woods? You know where Lake of the Woods is. You're from Minnesota.
Yes, sir. I've been up into the Boundary Waters many a time.
So we used to go to Canoer all the time. That was at the top of the Lake of the Woods. And we used to actually fish both the Winnipeg River and the Lake of the Woods. Now, when we went up the river, the limits were different than they were on the lake.
Yeah, look, I understand that the tribes, they want to have their wild rice and they want to have their, walleye, but there's plenty to go around. They shouldn't have to set all these crazy limits on this stuff. I mean, they stock the lakes anyway.
Yeah, but Miles, what it does is it promotes people from, catching their fish and going back and selling their fish to those restaurants, right? Now, we used to catch tunas and sell them all the time. We weren't supposed to, but we did, right? We knew restaurants that we could call, hey, we got, 6 yellowfins, or we got a bluefin for you or whatever, and they pay by the pound. That was pretty good, but that's the reason. They don't want just your average commercial fisherman selling their fish to the restaurants. That's all that is.
Well, what it comes down to is they don't want the American person to to prosper. They don't want that to be shown in the US. They don't want that to happen. They wanted it to crumble. Hence why Obama did this back when in his administration. It's just another industry that they were trying to take out of America.
Yeah, but Julie, there was an abuse there that they don't talk about, right? And unfortunately, I was part of that generation. There was an abuse. We used to go and load the boat. You couldn't possibly eat all the fish that we put on the boat, but we put them on anyway. Without the limits, I know that my ocean environment is getting stronger because of limits. So I'm kind of on the other side of that sword because, hey, look, I've seen flounder fishing going from when there was no limits to where the limits are now. The fish are much bigger. They get to the breeding ages, better than, hey, with us, taking an overload. Weak fish, stripers, sea bass, all of it. Everything has a limit on it.
Marlon, real quick before you go to Sovereign with their hand up. Good news, I guess. Facebook and Instagram are down, so yippee.
Server problem. Get Sovereign, and we'll go to Goat.
Well, I wanted to add, to what Miles was stating, because I was originally from that area. So up in the Mille Lacs area, I know this was a few years back, Miles, but I think it was some of the tribes can sell to the restaurants because they were selling, fresh caught walleye. But here's the thing with it, Marlon, from your perspective, like I get that too. But in Minnesota, there's something going on, and it's like a control mechanism. So they were telling us that there's a lack, right? Like they're always saying there's a lack, and screaming, we want land back, and all this stuff. It's a deeper thing that's going on with that. So certain tribes are allowed, certain allotments, and they're allowed first. And it kind of reminds me, like on a smaller scale, of what Trump just did yesterday. Americans weren't allowed to fish, but other countries were. So if you kind of take it on a macro level or a micro level, certain tribes can fish, but American citizens, can only take, a certain amount. So there's a lot more that's going on there with all of that. And if you want to start digging into Peggy Flanagan, go ahead, because she's like, it's a whole thing. And it's not all the tribes in Minnesota. There's just kind of a select few that have kind of been running around basically trying to, they hate the white people, they hate the white men. So it kind of runs a little bit deeper in the Minnesota area for that part of the fishing thing.
It's no different in Kenora. They hate the white man there. You know what? We were broken down. We were broken down on this road. Wait, what was the name of the road? I'm not sure if it was Boundary Road. I'm not sure. It was right up against the Manitoba border. And we had gone back there and we went through puddles that were iced up. And we blew one of the universals out of the front end. And we were stuck back there. We had a guy pull up and we asked him for a ride out to the front. And he says, what, you're stuck back here? Typical Americans, the white man stole everything from me. I mean, these people are still fighting this today. Coach,
Yeah,
what's up, man? Okay, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, that's definitely prevalent. And again, it's not all the tribes in Minnesota. Some have actually spoken out within the last year and said, we do not agree with what they're doing. We're not a part of that. But there are some that have definitely raised a ruckus and causing some real issues there in Minnesota for people. And, it just reminds me of the whole reparations. We came from slavery. It's like, well, I didn't do that to you. We didn't do that to you. So it's definitely a mentality that has been like ingrained into some of these people's psyche, unfortunately.
Here's a quick example for you, then we'll go to you, Goats. In British Columbia, they stopped the trophy brown bear hunt, grizzly bears, right? You're not allowed, Americans used to go, and especially to this camp, they used to get like $32,000 a hunt, and they were allowed to hunt 3 of them a year. So realistically, when the British Columbia government suspended any grizzly bear hunting in that province, the only way you could do it is if you only took the meat. You can't take the hide, you can't take the jaws, you can't take the claws, you can't take anything. You can only take the meat. You can do that, but nobody's going to British Columbia to kill grizzly bear meat. Okay, I'm just telling you. But that just shows you now they have a problem. And that was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And when I tell you there's so many grizzly bears there, it's scary. That's how bad it is. I mean, when we used to get out of the side by side or out of the boat, we had a 400 marlin with us, and we had a fire extinguisher for pepper spray. I'm not talking about the little thing you spray and so. No. This thing was a fire extinguisher, right? Crazy. You didn't get out of the boat without it. Okay, go.
Good morning, Marlon. Good morning, Julie. Everybody. This is kind of how I see it. The whole, with the American experiment, right? Because to make this whole thing work, everybody has to act in a right and responsible way, right? And then you got to ask, well, what's right, what's responsible, and who's making that call? Well, it's what profits society in a long-term, exploration. It's not what profits tomorrow or next week or next month. It's what profits in a long term. So once you have one person that gets outside of what that is, then somebody has to make a rule for that. And then once a rule is made, then another rule is going to get made, and another rule, and another law, and another law, and another law, and it will never stop. And I don't know how it ever. As smart as the founding fathers were, all their quotes, they're telling us exactly about what we're going through today. But I also think they're kind of retarded, because if they met like 5 people in their life, I wonder how they ever thought this would really work.
Did they really think it was going to work, or has it been manipulated since then? That's what I think.
Well, it has, because we are very flawed people, and we don't gravitate naturally towards the idea of freedom. We gravitate naturally towards the idea of, getting a little more, or not doing as much, or comfort. I think I put a post down at the bottom. I think even the desire for comfort should be thoroughly examined, because we don't do good in comfort as humans. You know what I mean? At least I do. When I'm like comfortable and not don't have something to overcome, my head gets all screwed up. My life goes crazy. I gotta have a struggle, I think, all the time, Marlon.
Goats, dude, the timing though back then totally different from today's mentality. And then back then, people did have moral character. The assumption that people didn't was more strange and foreign to them because they were Christian.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It was different, Goats. Go ahead, Miles. You want to add?
Yeah, look, everyone's focusing on the Somali fraud. Tribal fraud has been going on forever in the state, and they're connected to the politicians. And Sovereign was right. Certain tribes have connected to these certain politicians, and they've been paid off. And the fraud on the tribal level has been going on forever. And that has to be cleaned up too. I get it with the Somali fraud. It's easy to put a spotlight on that. But you go to these casinos and these certain tribes, I mean, the stuff that's going on is criminal, obviously, but it's got to be addressed.
Let me ask you something, Miles. So you know where the Lake of the Woods is. You know, if you travel just 2 hours north, up above Silver Lake, up above, man, I'm trying to think.
Duluth.
Yeah, no, wait. No, well, you go up through Duluth, and then you go up through Sioux Narrows, and then up the east side on 71, all the way up to the Trans-Canada.
Grand Marais,
right?
past Grand Marais.
Yep. And that's how we would drive. We would drive right through Minnesota, up, we would cross at International Falls, and we would drive from there. We would drive from there to Kenora, right? And we would go through, like I said, Sioux Falls and all that. But if you travel just 2 hours north of that, if you go up some of these roads, the Jones Road or any of these dirt roads, Monackey Road, you know, there's tribes of Indians up there. There's only a certain length that you can actually travel without going through a checkpoint, right? You get up above Silver Lake, an American can't go any further. And if you are going further, they want to search your truck. And what I mean by search your truck, as long as you don't have any alcohol, rubbing alcohol, containers of gas, you know, you want to talk about Canadians, they should clean up their own backyard on how demoralized they did to that population of people there. They drink gasoline there, okay, to get high, right? They can't get any alcohol, and they drink gasoline. This
Sterno too. The Sterno.
Dude, any of it. Rubbing alcohol, you can't have any of that in your truck. And we even said to them, hey, we're just hunting, you know, here's our guns. It didn't matter. You're not allowed up there. I think Canadians should do a little soul searching in their own backyard and look at those communities. It's horrid. Dude, I don't think you guys realize. Like the poverty here, let me tell you how it goes. If they are living in a house and they run out of heating fluid, you know what they do? They start a fire inside the house and they burn the house down to the ground. Right? This is all over up there. It's so poverty stricken up there. Americans would be shocked. So anytime I hear a Canadian step out of line, they should go take care of their own backyard. Goats?
You know, I'm not like really calling the founders retarded or think the experiment is. I'm just trying to point out things I see today, you know, that I see that we're going through. But you know, I'd kind of push back a little bit on what because you know all those quotes like freedom, trading freedom for security, and you know the Constitution was only made for a moral and righteous people. All those quotes, they told us don't get in foreign entanglements. They told us about what we'd be dealing with today. So they must have had some kind of glimpse on what today's man kind of could look like. So I just think, you know, we all need to. There's a lot of responsibility to be had in freedom.
Joel,
You
I
there,
got
Mom?
to reset here for a minute. Give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
No problem. No problem. What else is going on this wonderful Friday here? Getting ready for a few games. I know my husband's band, they're canceling bands all weekend, especially at bars that have, any kind of big sports venue that people that come in because of all the things that are going on this weekend. You've got the World Cup starting. I mean, yeah, the FIFA, and then you've got the Knicks game Saturday, and then is it Saturday? And then you have or is it tonight, the Knicks game? I can't remember. And then you also have what else? There's one more thing that was happening. Trump's thing with the on Sunday with the fighters, the Ultimate Fighting. So it's going to be a busy sports weekend. So a lot of bands are being canceled. My husband's like, I hope they don't cancel us. But I think the place that he's playing at, they don't really have a lot of sports games. They don't even have the NFL package. So it's not like people go there to watch sports anyway. So I think his band is safe this weekend to play there. So everything. And I see Carol just came up.
When I hear that, I think of John Belushi and the Blues Brothers. The band.
We play tonight, don't we? We play tonight. The USA does, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they play in California tonight. I believe it's in California.
Yeah.
Good morning, Papa Carol. How you doing? Good to see you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm a little confused all of a sudden. Julie, why are they canceling your husband's band? Like, my band is slammed this weekend. We're just looking at each other going, when are we going to have time to breathe between my two bands? And I live 3 miles from FIFA where they're playing the FIFA games. So I'm a little confused what's going on with the bands being canceled.
Because the venues that have them also have a lot of people that come to, there's going to be a lot of watch parties. So they are canceling the band so that they don't have to turn the sound down on the TVs. They can keep that going. I guess that's more lucrative, Carol. My husband's band didn't get canceled, but other bands at other venues around the area in the lake here have been canceled. So he won't get canceled. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I see. Yeah, because I didn't, and I thought, wait, FIFA, does she live in this area? Because I'm like 3 miles literally from the stadium. So I'm kind of going, but no, we're going to be really busy this weekend and every weekend through July. I'm just really, which is fun. But anyway, so just good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing really well. I'm going to drop down a listener. I got to take care of a couple of things and hit the road, get my patient seen, run home, grab my instrument and my amp, and get to the venue. So I'm better get a move on.
Papa Carol, what do you play?
I'm in the same boat. I got to bounce too. It's good chatting with you guys all this morning. Gotta get
Good to see you,
some work done.
Hey, good to see you, Rule. Papa Carol, what do you play?
I play bass. I'm in a blues band where we do a lot of old school blues, B.B. King, Freddie King, Albert King, but we do more new stuff too, Joe Bonamassa, and I can't remember all the names of the guys. And then I'm in a classic rock band, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. And I think we do one song in the 2020s. Like, I don't know why they're calling it classic rock. We do like all the decades, starting with the 60s, at least a couple songs from each decade. Heavy on the 80s, though, really heavy on the 80s. But no, I play electric bass.
I could see you up there, but I mean, I always think of like Tom and Jerry when he's playing the bass. I don't know.
Martha Carroll, that's great. My husband is the drummer of a band that he's been in for over 20 years. They're called Supernova. Really, I mean, that's how I met him. Yes, I met the drummer, but it's fun. I don't go to too many shows anymore. Just because a lot of my friends don't go. It's kind of my time alone just to stay at home, unless he's playing in the evening or in the afternoon at open like on the lake venue place that's in the outside. I don't really prefer to be inside anymore for these gigs, and he's.
So you dated the drummer?
I dated and married the drummer, Marlon.
Oh, even worse. The band. I just can't get it out of my head. It's one of my favorite movies. Blues Brother, come on, I watch it every time.
Well, God bless you, Julie, because, a spouse or a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, of a musician who's actively working, they have to be very, very understanding. Fortunately, my man is also a musician. He and we met him, or I met him. We got together before, but his band lost their bass player, and that's the blues band that I'm in. So we're in a band together. But then he has another band, and I have another band, and you just have to really be understanding, and you have to kind of get it. You have to get that drive, that pull, where somebody just has to play music. I mean, I've been playing music since I was 5, but not everybody in my life has been very understanding about this I don't know, need I've got. It's like breathing. I've got to do it. So
I
good
hear
for
you.
you. Yeah, good for you for being understanding.
I do, and he loves it. He loves it. He not only plays in this band, but he's also plays in the praise band for our church. So he's very involved in that, and he loves it. He's always loved being a drummer. I think I've told the story before. He grew up with music all around him. He grew up in Edison, New Jersey, but he really hung out down by the shore, by where John Bon Jovi was. His mother was part of John Bon Jovi's. What do you call it? When you I can't think of the name of it now. And his mother was still very good friends with oh my God, I'm like blanking out on names here. She just passed away. Richie Sambora's mom and everything. So he's grown up around all this. He loves music. He loves hard rock. He loves heavy metal is really what his big thing is. So he just loves it, and that's okay. I'm happy that he's happy, and that's all that matters.
So, Julie, you like men with rhythm?
No, yeah, men with rhythm. A fan club. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. She ran his fan club before he fired her.
Bon Jovi was one of those guys, like, all the girls would go crazy. Or he was just like bubblegum. I don't know. He kind of ranks right up there with the Hooters.
I think Richie Zambora was the cuter one of the band anyway, but my husband really wasn't a big fan of theirs. He always got free tickets. His sisters always went to the shows, but he was like, yeah, I'll pass, Mom. I'm not going, but yeah. So
when we were in when Goats' room was going, they were talking about old cars, and then they talked about the concerts they went to. And I was never a big concert guy, but embarrassingly enough, I'm gonna say that my first concert was Rick Springfield.
Jesse's girl. You know who else he was really good friends with? Carol, that he's still really good friends with, his Skid Row, the guys from Skid Row, Snake Sabo and all them. He used to hang out with them all the time. And they're also a New Jersey band, and people don't really know about them. And Snake Sabo used to play with John Bon Jovi before Bon Jovi became Bon Jovi, when he had his first band. So little known fact, little history there for everybody to kind of ponder on if you were a John Bon Jovi fan.
Hey, Julie, can I date myself? My first major concert I went to was The Doors.
Yeah, you're definitely dating yourself. Actually, you know what? I went to Rick Springfield, but I also went to Blue Oyster Cult, so I'm not too far off.
The interesting thing about that concert was that was the first concert he played after he got arrested in Miami for evidently exposing himself. So he I guess he wanted to go the furthest away from Miami for his next concert, and there were police in the wings watching him. You could see him on stage. They were off stage in the wings, and he was looking at him going, "No, I'm not going to do anything tonight." It was a good concert though.
So the Dead would always come here, right? I can't stand the Dead. I hate the Grateful Dead. They got them peace stickers and the tie-dyed. Oh my God, I can't stand the Dead. But we used to go to the party. Like, when you used to go up in front of the Vet Stadium and the Dead was playing, they were selling whippets and, it's great.
So Marlon, what do you think about Sublime? Because You know, his
I like
kid,
Sublime. I like
his
Sublime.
kid sounds just like him, and he just put out a new album. Everybody's just super excited about, you know, his son putting out this album from Sublime.
I don't know much about the band, to be honest with you, Miles. I could sit here and lie to you, but I really don't know much about it. I like some of their songs. I know Kurt Cobain, and that whole saga. They're kind of into that saga. I don't know the ins and outs.
Look, there's a big reggae thing going on, which to me that reminds me of the Dead. It's the same beat, it's the same rhythm, it's the same thing over and over and over again.
Come on, what? All right, no. Reggae is awesome. That reggae
It's
is
the
that.
same beat.
No, it's
Look,
not.
ask Apothecary. It's the
No,
same.
come on.
It's the
Bob
same riffs
Marley.
over and
Bob.
over and over again.
No.
No, that don't. I'm with you, Marlon.
Oh man, and Miles. The only reason I know is because Cape May, I swear, was the mecca for reggae. Okay, every club there was a reggae club on every corner, and they were great times, dude. I'll never forget Cape May, Ugly Mug, and reggae.
The Ugly Mug.
Yeah, the Ugly Mug.
Well,
yeah.
Julie, tell your husband. My wife and I, we go to all the thrash metal concerts. That's what we're into, thrash metal. And and that does not include Iron Maiden. They're not labeled as a thrash metal band. But if you look at the thrash metal bands out there, like Lamb of God
Slayer.
and Slayer, we're going to Slayer. We're going to go see Slayer in September.
Miles, I can't. Miles, do you have like hair down to your hips, peace pot microdot, or?
No, I'm bald. So look, she just likes that music. I'm going to do it what my wife wants me to do, but she's turned me on to this music, and it's really good. So there's going to be some other good bands with Slayer, and it's going to be outside. So I'll update you on it. It's in September though.
All right,
That
Miles.
sounds-
If you're bald, Miles, just tell him. Like, don't be jealous. Just tell him, man. Grass don't grow on a busy street. That's all. Hey, Brad.
That's hilarious. I would love to go to Slayer. They would be really good. I think that's going to be a good concert. Mine was Heart. When I think about Heart, it makes me think Apothecary. Were you into Heart?
Yeah, I think she had to drop down, but I liked Hart.
I loved Heart. And I still do. And then I found out some stuff that I really didn't like, but I pretend that I don't know that now. Because I found out they had some
like
stuff
Judas
going
Priest.
on backstage.
I was like Judas Priest, right? As soon as they found out that guy was gay, oh my God, the remarks that came out about him, but it's still good music.
Yeah, Rob Halpert's one of the best singers ever. And we knew he was gay years ago. I mean, when he puts out a song, Hell Bent for the Leather, we know what that's about. We know what the motorcycle gay leather guys are about.
But Miles, it was more of you got another thing coming, and we were, and that's basically the time that, hey, we were right out of high school, maybe in our early 20s. We were going to Daytona. It was like, you got another thing coming at 130 miles an hour. I mean, that's what it was. Hell's Bells, AC/DC. It was nuts. That radio got you so much tickets.
One of the best metal songs ever is Painkiller. Listen to that, because they were kind of on the downslide, and in 1990 he came out with Painkiller. Oh my God, everybody it rejuvenated Judas Priest. And he's still out there. We go see him. He can still belt it. Now he's got a long beard and he's bald and he's an old man, but he can still sing great. Got a great voice.
Okay, well, I want to correct that. Them being gay has nothing to do with what I found out. I don't care what. I don't care the way they go.
You have to have a sense in your head, right? You kind of got an idea what that guy is. I mean, that was a killer tune, right? But when you found out later on, like, he wasn't the guy he was trying to promote, it kind of killed it.
Well, I was talking about heart. I said heart, and y'all went to gay people. But no, I found out they had trafficking going on in the background, and I didn't know that. And I found articles about it, and I'm like, oh my God, it killed the vibe completely. So I try not to think about it because I do love their songs.
It's the same with Hollywood, right? I can't watch a movie that Bobby De Niro is in. I just can't stomach it. Anyway, Coach really sparked it off. It was a feel good Friday, and he was talking about old cars, and we were talking about concerts, and they were talking about old cars, and oh my God, and they were talking about a particular car. They were talking about a Pinto, a 2-door Pinto, and I think we've talked about this before. 2-door Pinto, and it had a 3-speed in it, right? We used to take the tires off of it and put snow tires on the back, and we had this track around this quarry, and we used to flat track them things. We used to race through the woods with these. You couldn't use a Dog-O-Matic. You had to have the 3-speed or a CRX or something small like that. But the Pinto was perfect. You put it would go between the trees. It was great. I remember so many. We had a pile of Pintos when we were done.
So have you talked about these new vehicles that if you're upset and you've gotten an argument, your vehicle won't start because it knows you're upset? Look, these vehicles are going to cost like $60,000, $80,000. Just go to an auction and buy a couple classic cars, and you won't have to deal with that. You'll have a completely refurbished, almost brand new classic. Drive that around. Don't buy these new vehicles that won't let you turn the key on.
No, I haven't heard of that, but it's kind of like the same notion that everybody by 2030, no more diesel trucks in New Jersey. And what if I want to go to the North Main woods? How am I going to get there? Take my generator, charge my truck? It's crazy talk. Jenna, go ahead. How you doing? You heard the Pinto talk?
Yes, and I'm older than you. My dad worked for Ford Motor Company when it was in Metuchen, so I had a Pinto. And what you were just describing, I used to do that because I learned how to drive on a racetrack. Some friends of ours actually had owned a racetrack. So my mom and dad were like, no, we're not teaching her how to drive. She has no fear. Yeah, they're still kind of right. But we did the same thing, only we did it. There was a place right off of Elizabeth Avenue in out past it. I don't even remember what the hell the name of the town was, but that's how long I've been gone out of New Jersey. But we used to do the same thing. One of the girls' dad owned this like old quarry that was out back of his house. And we used to go down there and race and had a blast. My dad was like, see, and this is why you have a Pinto. And I go, thank you. It's a manual shift. And I go faster than everybody else. Thank you very much.
Was that your first car? Was that your first car?
No, my first car was a 65 Mustang that my dad took and sold on me because of what it was.
Oh, okay. Mine was a Ford Fairlane, 64 Ford Fairlane.
Oh my God, my brother would have killed for that car. My brother had one.
Miles, the first car I ever bought was a 1976 El Camino. It had wait. It had the rally rims on it. The deep dish rallies. Man, that car was a good car. That was awesome. But Jenna, yes, we used to buy them cars for like $150. We would look for them in their driveways, all broken down. We would take them, fix them up. And yes, we had a track, and it was in Winslow. It was around this quarry, and we made our own track down there. It was so much fun until we got busted. Then they made us get rid of all of it.
Hey, Marlon, Julie needs to be recycled. She sent a message.
I got it.
Yes, thank you, Randy. And I just wanted to say also, Janina, my sister-in-law lives in Metuchen now. My husband grew up in Edison area, so they're all from that area, South Plainfield, Edison, Metuchen. Yeah, so I know that place very well.
That's my old stomping grounds. That is definitely my old stomping grounds. Manville, Findern, Somerville, all the way through the areas that you're talking about. I had a sister that lived right outside of Rahway. So yeah, that's all old familiar territory.
See, all right, now just to give you a little reference, right? I'm in the southern part of the state, right down near Hamilton, and this is where the Jersey Devil comes from, right? Everybody's heard of the Jersey Devil, right? That's the area, the Pine Barrens, Batstow. Oh, there's an urban legend down there, so that's how far south I am.
Hey, there was a Bigfoot spotted in the Pine Barrens. Did you go look hunt for him, Marlon?
Hey, listen, I've told you I've had experiences in the past with Bigfoot, so you can't ask me. And people get me to try and say, do I believe in Bigfoot? And you know what? I'll say it here. Yes, I do.
There was some creepy crap that used to go on outside of Jackson too, and down in New Egypt. That's where I learned how to drive, was on New Egypt Speedway.
Yeah, New Egypt. That's not there anymore. ACO Dragway. They just closed that last year. No more ACO.
But we had family friends that sold New Egypt. I remember when they sold it, they owned it for like forever. And, after Cookie, who got killed, taught me how to drive and such, and he got killed in an accident while racing, she just lost her heart. His mom owned the track, and she just lost heart in it and sold it.
Yeah, those tracks aren't around anymore. I think Bridgeport is still there. Englishtown. I'm not sure if Englishtown's still there.
There's the one that's right by Point Pleasant. You get off on that exit. I forgot what it's called. I should know because we used to go down there all the time. My ex-boyfriend used to be a 3/4 midget racer, so I used to have to go to all these races. Very boring.
Is that by Raceway Park?
Yeah, Englishtown, Raceway Park. Yeah.
Hey Marlon, what did they do to ADCO? I heard I was down there about a year ago. I heard a lot of heavy equipment and the road was blocked off, but I haven't been down there since.
You know what? It's funny you say that because I can go either way, right? I can take 206 down or cut through there through Jackson, and they had it closed. I haven't. You know what? It's funny. I know that ACO's closed down. They had a sprint track. They had the drags, and it was really cool. It was like, I don't know, $10 you get into Friday night, street night, and all these different cars would show up and race down the track. They would have funny cars going there, the motorcycles, drags, Top Fuel. It was great, man. And I knew buddies that lived right there. It was a thing to do.
Yeah, I had a 67 Nova. It was the 283 punched out to 292, 4-speed, scatter shield, posi rear.
Yeah.
But I heard that they were turning ADCO Dragway into a 15-minute city, but I can't verify that anywhere.
But next time I go by it, I'm going to let you know.
Awesome, thanks.
It's been a while. I haven't been down that way in a while. But that was, that's what we grew up with. We had dates that went to ACO Raceway. There's still a drive-in movie theater in Vineland.
But that was good, clean fun, and they took it away from us kids.
Well, they said that the neighbors complained about the noise, and it didn't matter what was going on. It didn't matter which way the wind was blowing. You heard it.
Yeah, my dad had a gun club, a fishing and gun club down there, and that's we heard it all the time when we were down there, and that's how I knew it was there. So it was pretty cool for me.
man, I remember, man, man, all the cars that we let go. I mean, Chevelles and Mustangs, Novas. I mean, all those cars were all junk cars when I was growing up. Like, that's what I kind of picked through. If I would have known back then what I know now, oh my God, what an idiot. You know, it's like we could have bought those Nova, those SS's, all of those cars. They were hundreds of dollars, dude. It was crazy.
I had a 55 Chevy convertible, 56 convertible, a 57. I had a 58. I had a 62. I had a 66 Chevelle with a 3-speed on the column. I had a 67 Nova. Oh yeah, I was into it big. Oh, and I had a 72. I bought a brand new 72 Chevelle convertible. I couldn't get the SS package because it was like $300 more, but I had the bucket seats, everything else, the 4-speed, everything but the SS package. It was crazy.
See, that's what I'm talking about, though. Like the guy down where I grew up, the guy that lived 3 doors down, he rebuilt a Charger. I'm not sure if it was a 70 or 71, but it had a 440 with a 6-pack, and he had it done to the nines, man. I mean, it was a beautiful red. Had all the chrome pieces on top. This car did wheelies, man. And when I tell you went down the track in a hop, skip, and a jump, dude, that thing lit up and went down that track. It was going. That car did wheelies, man.
I'll tell you, it was loud, especially when you were there. When those dragsters cranked up, yeah, it was insane. But we loved it.
So that was Wall Stadium down there, but it used to be called a different name, and now it's so if you're going to Point Pleasant, you instead of going towards Point Pleasant, you'd make the left there off the exit off the Parkway.
Well, I can imagine there's going to be a bunch of short traffic and everything else today. Oh man, I got to deal with 42. Man, people from other parts of the country that have no idea. I gotta like customize my day around the friggin' traffic here. It's terrible. I can't wait to get out of here.
The bennies are all going to be coming down. It's starting now.
Somebody better move over. I don't care. Mississippi, Louisiana, Yankees coming. And the older I get, the less firewood I want to deal with, and I don't think I ever want to see another snowstorm again. That's what happens, right?
Absolutely.
You get
Come on, Marlon. You can't abandon us.
Not yet. Soon enough. Let me tell you, buddy. There's people that are buying some boats now. There's some good deals out there, and I know a couple of guys are putting boats around the country, buddy.
So my uncle owned a boatyard in Riverside, and so we used to go there frequently because they had a nice big house, and of course they had the money to host us, a large family. And so I used to walk around the boatyard, go in all the boats and stuff like that. His kids still run the boatyard today. It was Chris Craft, and so I'm very familiar with the boats. Inboard, outboard.
So they're,
awesome boats.
Yeah, they were in their time. Chris Craft, a lot of people see, people take these older boats. A lot of those Chris Crafts were built in the late 40s and 50s and 60s. And a lot of guys, took them, redid them, made extraordinary finishes out of them, made them look like a piece of furniture. But Chris Craft, at its time, they were mostly known for their wood boats, and that was the problem, right? So when they started changing, and every boat then, maybe 85, 88, something like that, they really phased a lot of those wood boats out because, you would put these wood boats in, like a Chris Craft, and you'd have to hold the son of a bitch in the stirrups, right? I'm talking about the big travel lift. We used to take boats in and out, prop them up on blocks, 80, 90 footers. But any crisscraft, we had to hold in the strings for at least a half hour, 40 minutes for the wood to swell so it wouldn't leak, right? The bilge pumps would be going, and these guys would be loving these boats, man, these crisscrafts, and they leak like a sieve, dude. And it took a little while for the thing to swell up, and it stopped leaking. But dude, you want to talk about something maintenance? Ugh. Well, you've all seen them in movies, James Bond movies, and all. They drive around in those good-looking crisscrafts in the harbor in Italy. Yeah, it's all crisscraft.
My uncle took me to the manufacturing plant where they built them, and I watched the whole process. They kill and dried the wood or softened it up so they could bend it. It was pretty interesting. We must have been about 10 years old. It was quite an experience.
They would build boats back then. Even today, they use the same steam bent technology, right? And you only use a nut or fruit-bearing tree because of the flexibility of it. So they would use, teak, a lot of teak. They would use all kinds of different woods, rosewoods, and anything that would take to a steam so they could actually make the jig and bend them. There was a lot of factories when I was growing up, 70s, 80s, that were physically building them boats. They would make a model, and then they would use the model to make the boat, whether it was 30 foot long, 40 foot long, whatever. But it was pretty cool. I got a lot of experience with nautical and really marine construction inside of boats, and stringers and bulkheads and how it moves and breathes, and yeah, man, crazy. Like a jack of all, but master of none, except driving.
Hey, Marlon, where did you take your course for your pilot course?
My captain's license?
Yeah.
So, Houston Marine, they laid out a pretty good plan, a home study. But again, it's not like anybody can go up there and get a captain's license, right? You have to have certified time on certain tonnage of boats to be able to qualify for 100-ton masters, right? And that's what I started out with. So, I had all kinds of years on party boats that were over 31 tons. So I was able to acquire. I was really young. I was only 22 years old when I got that, just because I had so much time. But it was more of rules of the road, navigation, and then when it came to the masters, it was more of deck general and loading, fulcrums, pivot points, yada yada yada, right? So most of it, Miles, I learned from the commercial fishery end, clamming, surf clamming, cohogging, scalloping, floundering, even a little bit of longline. So, that's really where I got the education. And when I studied for that, I wasn't a very good test taker per se, and you had to score 90 or better to be able to qualify for a master's. And I was able to do it after the second or third try. Hey.
So, my dad bought a 31-foot Sunrunner with twin 230 Mercs. So I got this book. It's called Chapman's Pilot book, and I read that to take my test. And I don't think, because I wasn't doing commercial, but I think everybody that's going to be in a boat on the water, they have to pass certain rules of the waterways. They have to know what's going on. They have to know that if you see a sailboat, they have the right of way because they're not under power. So people are so stupid when they get into a boat. They don't know what the hell they're doing. So,
well, you know what? It's even worse when the guy's got money, right? It's actually 10 times worse, right? So that's why sometimes, hey, I get hired to really take these people out to really show them how to use the boats. It's not just the fishing end; it's all the components that go with it, right? A lot of these boats, they have all kinds of systems on them. They have water making systems. We have filter systems, chillers, refrigeration. There's a lot to maintain there. But the guys who buy it, hey, they want to go whole shot the thing out of the marina and shit. I mean, it's the kind of clientele that just piles on getting boat. In the state of New Jersey, you have to have a boat license to operate. Yes, you do. Not a captain's license. It's something that the state police marine division supplies to New Jersey. You can sign up for a boater safety course, and everybody should do it. Really, Miles, it's because of understanding or not understanding what to do in the situations when they're blasting on even the jet skis. Dude, there's so many deaths down there in the Jersey Shore from that. I mean, it's just, you hear case after case after case. These guys are out there running alcohols and vials. Alcohol and boats is probably the number one mixer you should never do. I never, ever drink. Ever. I usually don't drink on land either, but never on a boat, never.
Well, we're the same. I'm not very good at taking written tests, but reading that book, that Chapman's Piloting, it really was in depth on what to do, chart a course, all that stuff. So that was like the first time that I beat my father in a score on a test. I think I got like a 92 on it. He was pissed.
So, look, I mean, a lot of the navigation can really be done by the stars. Land points, frequencies on buoys and lighthouses, and every bit of it counts. I got a lot of exposure with tugs up and down the Delaware Bay, and man, if I could write a book, I probably should. But, hey, that's what gives me some of the foundation to be able to come up and talk to you fine people today. It's all about life experience, right? If you guys are talking about doing that trip, or you always wanted to do this, go and do it. Guess what? You're gonna run out of time. That's what I feel like. Miles, I have so many things that I want to do before I leave this planet. I'm running out of time, Miles.
So that's it. Just do it then. You keep talking about this. I've heard this a couple of years now. So just do it.
But I do it. I do it? What do you mean?
I don't know. The last trip you did was Atlantic City. Don't tell me you've done it.
You bring up a good question. So they just started trials on humans for life extending whatever, drugs or whatever. And they put it in this guy's eye. I don't know why they're doing the eye first, but would you want to live to be 500 years old?
Miles? No. Are you kidding me?
Well, look, I was on a show yesterday and I made a joke about it because I think they're going to be able to do it, where they're going to be able to extend life and not for like 20 years. We're talking about hundreds of years. So I made this joke. I said, well, I don't know if I can take my mother-in-law living 500 years, even if, I'm still around. And of course, everybody was laughing, but I said, maybe if Elon sends the mother-in-laws to Mars, then that would be okay. Guys, I'm joking. I love my mother-in-law, but you got to come up with a joke once in a while. But yeah, I think that they're very close to extending our lives.
Well, you know what, Miles? I'm 55 and I'm tired, right? I couldn't imagine going through another life here. No way. I don't regret a thing. I've done a lot of experiences, but am I in no way looking to spend the next couple hundred years? No, that. What's this, the Green Mile? Oh.
See, I disagree because I think something was done a long time ago. I think people in the past, the ancients, they lived a long, long time, and they feared death even worse than we do on a short lifespan because they had gained so much knowledge. I would love to gain a lot of knowledge over, like 400 years. And
look, there's a lot there that, listen, they talk about they talk about giants and they were, you know, partially immortal, and you know, Miles, like I don't know, that's way too deep to get into today, but yeah, I'm not interested. I'm not signing up. Hey, when it's my turn, I'm ready. Okay.
Yeah, if I'm gonna live 500 years, I better look like I look like right now, not not the shriveled up prune for 500 years, Miles.
You
No,
imagine the wrinkles?
they'll slow down the aging process. So yeah, you'll look good. It'll be like a bird. You know how a bird, it looks perfect until it falls over and dies down. It doesn't look old, you know. Parrots look pretty
I
good.
do have one question though, Miles. They are trying to rid us now. So what makes you think they're going to allow us to live 500 years when they don't? They want to tamp down the planet because they're saying we're too overcrowded.
Those people are gone. We've taken care of those people. That's what I believe. The cabal is dead.
I vote no, dude. I'm not looking to extend it. Whatever God has intended me to have, I'm not trying to mess with Mother Nature, releasing ticks or mosquitoes. These people are dealing with powers they have no idea with. And at the end of the day, you know, Mother Nature's going to snap back. She always does. So, well, that's a different discussion, Miles. Sorry, dude. Go ahead, Zach, and then we'll say hello.
Well, say good morning. How you doing today? Yes. Been a lot of news out there today. So just watch it and see it and do what you need to do, and love you guys.
Good to see you, Zach. Is there a lot of news? You know what? We've kind of been in a tunnel for the last couple of hours, so.
I know SpaceX, the IPO has dropped, but don't buy it this quite yet.
Yeah, we heard there was a hold on it, all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know what to believe here. I'm sure I'll hear later on. Joe, how you doing, Joe? What's up?
I'm doing good, but Miles' comment gave me no choice. I had to grab a mic and say something. The answer you're looking for, if you want life expectancy restoration, not to be confused with extension, it is in my Substack. It's clearance of toxicants, lead, mercury, aluminum, cadmium, arsenic, antimony. And when you clear it down to the bone marrow rebuilds and the body regenerates. It's that simple. And some new anecdotes. My Australia twin clients are halfway through the first protocol. One got 3 shots, one got 4, and both are reporting improvements in skin quality. So the theory of toxic synergy and toxic stealth are shining through, and it looks as though the body has the off switch for the mRNA modified cells, but the clutter has to get taken out of the way, those toxicants. And that's where I think I'll drop the mic. If you want, just look at my profile at my Substack. There's all the information you need, and with each link, everything you need to do what I do. Dropping the mic.
Thanks, Joe. Hey, if I could increase the quality of my life from here to then, maybe I would think about it, but extending my life by hundreds of years, no thanks. Go ahead, Susan.
Hey, good morning. So, has anybody seen the recent updates on sealed indictments? Somewhere around 550, 570,000, which is up by about 100,000 from last year. Interesting. When are we going to execute those?
They're doing them now. Look at the ones that are unsealed.
Well, again, hey, when you do these spaces, we get some of new news, but man, I just haven't had time to even look. So more distractions, right? I mean, regardless of what those cases are, at the end of the day, I swear to God, it's a distraction. I can't utter one more word about Jeffrey Epstein. It just kills me.
Marlon, it's not about that. They were just talking about it yesterday, about the children. They found 147,000 children. And those people, they've arrested 15,000 people that were trafficking more than 3 children. So
Oh,
we're
I'm sorry, I
talking about,
didn't hear that.
yeah, so that's 15,000 indictments that are unsealed. They were working on those. So that's why I told Susie, look at the ones that are unsealed. Now, even Trump said some of these kids are, unfortunately, they're not with us anymore, but there's still thousands out there. And that's part of the sealed indictments, going after these traffickers. Now, yeah, you want the big name people, but they're going after all these people. We have no idea who these people are. And they brought up some examples. You know, they only talked about 2 or 3 of the people that have been arrested, but they're out there. And it goes back to what our government was doing with the children, too. So, yeah, it's a big deal. And I don't care to hear about the big names right now. I want all the, you know, the low hanging fruit. Take care of those people now. Stop them from what they're doing. So
I want to
it's
see,
happening right
you know
now.
what, now, Susan, that you brought that up, you know what I want to see now is I don't want to only see the traffickers, but I also want to see the logistics systems taken down with it. You know, that's got to be a part of it. It's not just, hey, they're going to throw a couple names out there. What about all these companies that facilitated this behavior, using foreign labor to do it, keeping their mouths shut? You know, that's really the consequence of what you just said. So when I hear some of the logistics companies go down with some of these traffickers and how they made these connections, Sound of Freedom already told us. So, you know, and you know, again, to Light to Dark, to Mikey Relentless's organization there and all the child trafficking, they should be flipping up and down saying, holy shit, here it comes, because that's what I see. And that's probably of a whole lot of different organizations that really help that number. There has to be some kind of congratulations to the Holman administration for working with all of these organizations that went and rescued those children. They didn't find them all in one freaking spot. I can tell you that. So that's what we witnessed in our own community. Julie, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think this is going to start to really get the ball rolling. You know, for months now, since Trump has been back in office, they've been saying this on the main, you know, allowing this to come on the mainstream media about each month, each whatever quarter or month, whatever. Either Kash Patel comes out and talks about how many children have been rescued, or Mark Wayne Mullen, or when it was Kristi Noem. Nobody until Mark Wayne Mullen said, out of you know, these kids that have all been captured, some were saying they were getting raped 600 to 700 times a day. And if that's not going to open people's eyes that, oh my God, this is just more than you know, some kids getting left at the border lost and, you know, nobody could find them. Now the dirty stuff is coming out. And that's the first time I mean, I've heard it little bits here and there, but that one was a big one because he said it at the press conference. And he said, you know, that is going to be a shocker for everybody. So, yeah, I think that this is going to start to ramp up, and they have been getting these people, you know, all the time. I mean, Kash Patel talks about it all the time, but yet, they want to go after Kash Patel about, you know, having a beer with the hockey team still. You know,
Well,
it's just utterly ridiculous.
What about now? Now he's really racking them up, right? He, you know, and I think just about every week he's put out a list of the organizations and the arrests that they've made. Now he's unsealing 15,000 indictments in the child trafficking area. Man, that's great news. They should be doing backflips and like watch it open up. Maybe, you know, this is what we all had to see. I mean, I don't know. Go ahead, Susan. You want to respond? We'll go to True.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. That was just amazing. Really, really amazing. I don't know that it was 6 or 7, you know, a day. I think it was over time, not a day. But yeah, it's horrific what they've done. And we are seeing it.
You know,
yeah, I meant to say over time, but still, it was
yeah.
horrible. One time
I'm thinking about that, like how many minutes each, like that's, oh dear.
Think
Mind you,
about
we
this.
had some OnlyFans women that were trying to break a record.
Well, that's disgusting in itself, but you know, think about that, right? You're talking about a child that, hey, they prostituted out, and the animals that actually tore them apart. You know, back when we were doing spaces when Sound of Freedom came out, you know, we had testimony of doctors that came into space and told us what was the number one surgery they were doing was sewing up the rectums of these children. If that doesn't affect you, I don't give a shit if the child is purple. It wouldn't matter at that point. How could some kind of animal, what kind of evil really exists out there? That's what's shocking to me. What kind of evil is really there?
And Marlon, I think more is going to come out about this, and this is going to be good. The reason that Sound of Freedom didn't really get the cages rattled as per se as it did for the American people is because they looked at it as like, oh, well, this isn't happening to American children. This is only happening. It shouldn't happen to any child. Should, number one. But that's what people in people's minds were saying. Well, this isn't happening here in America. And, you know, who's the biggest client of child trafficking? Who's the biggest client for taking kids and doing this to them? Americans. And that was one of the crux of the movie. If you really sat down and understood it, the biggest clientele was America. They were bringing these children to America. And that's but people are just like, oh, well, you know, that's not happening in America. The kids in America are safe. And I think this is going to help blow things out of the water a little bit.
You know, and again, you know, you guys, that was one of the main reasons that I wanted to focus on the trucking and totally understand it, right? And totally realize, hey, what legislation that we need behind it. You know, that legislation that we proposed to, along with Noah's help, to Jeff Van Drew, you know, that they've put on the side, this would do the deal. This would make a task force inside of the FMCSA, and it would make it would be more of a continuity of government bill. It would make the other organizations, and I'm talking about the financial situation, the broker situation, the non-English efficiency problem. I mean, look at all the things that go along with the logistics with those kids. If they would pass some kind of task force that they would not only make the three-letter agencies all work together, but enforce penalties when they don't. Right. So, you know, why would they put some kind of legislation on the side that would not only help the logistics in this country, but also take a chunk out of child trafficking? It's almost like they don't want to. That's the problem. That's what it feels like. They know it's the Wild Wild West. And when you look back at all those congressional members, go look at the funding. Even Jeff Van Drew takes money from the TIA, the TAU, all these organizations that really are the ones at the tables. We're not at the table. They are. Julie, did you want to say something? We'll go to True.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, then the next thing you're going to hear is how the ports are controlled against America. That's what you're going to hear. Go ahead, sure.
Hey, man. Good morning. Yeah, just a little bit of weird news. And I was going to talk about drinking on the boat and stuff. But it seems like an army of robots is coming, and all we're talking about is still racial issues in America. We better focus on what's about to take place. I mean, with this AI centers and freaking control robots and robot dogs and shit. But that's just a little paranoia. But drinking on a boat was funny. I mean, this one guy, he's one of those guys that, you know, you would expect him to be doing this, but he was standing up on the back of a boat in the worst water, dude. I mean, this is what you drive over the bridge and you see that brown water out there. It's like salt. It's kind of like bay and ocean mixed together. It's just gross. You'd never want to go in that water, right? So he's standing on the back of the boat, drinking a beer, like guzzling it. Everybody in the boat's drinking, and the guy just takes off, and they don't even notice the guy went flying off the back, and they drove away, and he's out there with a beer in the water, no life jacket. He's just waving his hand, so they had to come back and pick him up. But yeah, you should never drink on a boat. And then living forever. Imagine if you could talk to your great grandpa or something, you know, like that would be cool. He could tell you a lot of things if he could, like, well, I saw that one movie where it was just the guy's head, and then when they flashed his body, it was like a see-through robot thing. And the guy is like, whoa, he didn't realize he's half AI. So maybe it will be like half AI or something. I don't know if that would be cool or not, if you want to live forever that way, but you might not have your body, maybe just your mind. I don't know what they do with your wrinkles and stuff. And then,
True. Are you really worried about AI? Is that your main concern?
no, I don't really have any main concerns except for, like you say, living and dying. But I'm just saying, AI, we're just not talking about it enough. I mean, it's taken all our jobs and everything. I think we are mentioning it, but they maybe are screening it away from us. Just these AI centers. Why do we need thousands of AI centers all over the country? That's a weird question, but I really want to talk about. You go ahead.
Yeah. Well, hold on one second. So, it's unfortunate, but I think there's a stigmatism out there that AI is this all seeing computer program. Like as soon as you go out in the woods and you disconnect from this phone, that AI is not going to affect your life. I don't understand. People are giving it way too much respect, Drew. I don't give a shit about the robots or whatever. Wait till they start breaking down because of real natural elements. Go send them out in a freezing rainstorm, expose them to all the salt. Give me about a week with the thing, and I guarantee it ain't going to work. So, dude, this overwhelming sense that, oh my God, it's going to come. Is it taking some of the computer program jobs and the jobs that probably, should be overtaken by the evolution of AI? Yeah, I get it. I understand. But, I mean, really, the fear of AI is going to take over my life. Well, then, switch your living so you can find something else to do. That AI is not going to be able to. Go take up drywall, dude. Go do drywall. It's going to be a long time before you got robots doing drywall.
Yeah, and I mean, why do we need to carry these things everywhere? I mean, remember, we used to have one phone in the hall, and if you were on it, your freaking parents would scream at you, "What are you doing on the phone?" Right? Like, if you're not
It's all convenience. That's all. It's convenient for Americans. They're able to call up Amazon at 8 o'clock in the morning and get a package delivered by 5. I get it.
Yeah, and then I mean, if you missed a phone call, you missed a phone call. There was no recorder or anything. Remember? I mean, you just didn't answer the phone, and nobody yelled at you for not picking up the phone. Like, you get yelled at 10 times a day. I called you, you didn't answer. It's like, hey, I'm busy.
Yeah, Joe, you want to add something?
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's not life extension, it's life restoration. We were already designed perfectly. And no, I would never want to live as mostly a machine with a brain only, because that's not what the process does. It regenerates. When you clear the toxicants out of the bone marrow, it refills with healthy bone marrow, naturally, rebuilds, and produces better quality red and white, as well as nonspecific stem cells, and the body regenerates. I'd never want to be beyond human. As a matter of fact, if I had a choice between going to heaven and staying on Earth, I'd stay on Earth, because you don't procreate in heaven. As for the
Joe, I've asked that question many times. Hey, would I ever want to leave Earth, to go to Mars or something like that? The number one thing, what would I miss the most? Like there would be no way. I'm this old. I mean, maybe if you took somebody that was a child and was used to that, but I don't think that, you as a human is set up for space travel and containment. And, I would think there's going to be problems with that. But, hey, maybe in the future, not me, man. No way. I'd miss the woods. I'd miss the ocean. I'd miss the smell of flower. Well, think about what you would miss.
Even the human residence is needed for life. Leaving the planet, we have to mimic it. As for AI, I'm not afraid of AI. I use it as an assistant when analyzing certain chemical reactions. That's how I synthesize dimercaptosuccinic acid without using any controlled substances. But do I need 4 AI data centers west of me, already in development, a 45-minute drive, and 2 more AI data centers east of me, already drying up wells. 11 wells got dried out because they suck so much water out of the ground. There's nothing for the county residents, and then they have to go fix it and keep everybody hush hush and buy them off. And do I need one in this city? And we have a creek. And all of that power, what's going to be accomplished with all of that energy? What's going to happen to all of our resources when we have all of these 500 megawatt systems out there using up our fuel? And what's the benefit?
But Joe, do they have concrete evidence of this? Did they give them the environmental reports? Did it go through the right process? Are they trying to shove them down our throat for some reason? I think we've talked about that particular subject a zillion times, right? There may be some things behind it that, hey, we would accept. Now, Joe, I understand that you don't want to see it. The people in North Vineland, New Jersey, they don't want to see the data centers. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the hum. They don't know about the EMFs that come out of it. There's a lot of unknowns there. So I can understand why people are pissed off. But, I think that, again, my philosophy is it's some kind of, hey, Iron Dome that's going to be over America. This is some kind of security that, hey, they need this quantum computing to be able to protect us. If anybody didn't see it in the Iranian war or the Iranian conflict, and Trump did say war yesterday, by the way, but anyway, the conflict, they shot a missile and hit a target like 5,500 miles away. They just showed you that they had the capability. So if we were told the right story, if they had the right environmentals, Gain put a thing out today. Hey, what about data centers? Where's the information? I told them straight blank. Where's the environmental reports? Everything you need to know is going to be in that environmental report. Yeah, Julie.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that if they were a little bit more transparent on things and informed the people of the towns, the benefits, what might happen, maybe people would be a little bit more understanding of things happening. But I can understand Joe's point. I mean, look at the one that was supposed to go up in Andover, which is still might happen. It's right now. It's just been taken off the table. But they did this in the dead of night. They took it upon themselves. These 6 councilmen and our women council people, whatever they want to call it. I don't want to be labeling anybody wrong. That to make this decision for the rest of that town, for the rest of that area, you can't do that. People pay taxes for a reason. If you're going to make us pay taxes, then be transparent about these things. And then I just wanted to say really quick, I just saw a post put out that what's her name? The one that Tulsi Gabbard just put out. She's releasing evidence of U.S. taxpayer-funded global biolab programs. There's 120 biolabs in 30 countries. Oh, in Ukraine being number 1. Remember China? Chyna? China? So just keep your eye on that.
Yeah, the AI is it could be like the military thing, like Marlon was saying, but it's just that remember he put $500 billion into this Stargate project, and it's going to be a nationwide AI center. And I was thinking it's more like digital ID, digital dollar. We're assigned. I mean, this is like crazy. They wanted the 15-minute cities, and they want to know where you're spending your money and doing all that bullshit. So it could be about control too. It's either about military control or both. I have no idea. But the last thing about Carmelo's judge said that he sleeps well at night, giving him a 35-year sentence, and he said he's a very nice boy. What did he say? Carmelo Anthony's judge calls him a nice young man, but stands behind the jury's 35-year sentence and says he'll sleep well at night. So I just want to throw that in there too.
Yeah, that's a whole big mess that this thing that's going on now, and I just see that they're going to try to really fan the flames of racism. Now there's a whole group that are coming out that are for the, obviously on the Carmelo camp, and they're saying that the DA was dirty. he has a record himself, a sexual misconduct record, or sexual misconduct in the office. So they were reading from the report about this guy. So yeah, if anybody knows more about that, they can come up and talk about it. I know Rusty was asking, so maybe if Rusty wants to come up and talk about it, it is a hotbed subject. It's gonna really, if it takes off, it's gonna be a bad thing. Hopefully it won't. Texas is not Minnesota. So I don't foresee a George Floyd 2.0, but you never know what can happen. So yeah.
Well, Julie, you know what? And I don't want to lose the notion. And Susan, I'm really glad that you brought that up because, hey, it's affected our communities from the very start here. And I hear the rhetoric. They were all calling for Pam Bondi and Cash's head, and look what the man's doing. I mean, okay, all right. What is the Trump administration here? This is what the Trump administration is doing. I mean, it's clear, evident now that, man, maybe the 15,000 sealed indictments has all the evidence to go with it. They're not going to roll over like a fat jelly donut, who's the guy? Come on, Diddy, right? Diddy. We expected the book to be thrown at that guy, and he got all soft. What about all the real evidence here? Is it worth it now? Is it worth it now that they took the extra 6 months, 8 months to collect all the evidence on the 15,000 indictments? That's what I'm hoping. And there better be logistics in that indictments. There better be logistic lines that facilitated this for all those years. They're just as guilty. I don't give a shit whether they knew or they didn't know. Now they know. And if they kept on doing it, you remember Yellow, right? Everybody thinks, oh, Yellow was Yellow was out of business. Yeah, I think Yellow got caught up. I think the U.S. government actually absorbed Yellow. That's what I think. A lot of people, feel the same kind of way. How could a giant logistic company like that, unless they were guilty? So let's see what comes out of it. But there better be logistics evidence in there. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, Marlon, I think that's why it's taking so long. They are crossing their T's and dotting their I's at every corner. And and kudos to Kash Patel. Like I said, he had a press conference the other day. He comes out, and like I said, the questions that were asked to him was about being hungover at the job, being intoxicated while working. Come on. They know that there's something big going to come. So this is the stuff that they're asking. These are the kinds of questions that they're asking. Mark Wayne Mullins just came out and talked about all these little children that had been sexually assaulted and all the things that are happening. And this is what they're asking of the FBI. The head of the FBI is if he's ever been intoxicated at work. It's just horrible.
It's a waste of time. Think about it. Go ahead, Susan. You want to respond?
Well, you make a good point about the amount of time it takes. There's a complete judiciary full of woke prosecutors that they first had to get rid of. I know people really threw a lot of crap at Pam Bondi. You have to understand, you got to clean house. But then you've got to find good people to replace them. Oh, but, a third to half of them were horrid. It would never follow through. This is the other reason why they're slow walking prosecutors, U.S. attorneys, judges in the Senate, because they know when it's fully up and running, they won't even allow not one recess appointment from the Senate. If we're going to be pissed off at someone, we should be pissed off at that, because that's outrageous. And there's a reason why they're slow walking all of this. And eventually I think we're going to see some of them all rolled up in this, and imagine the logistics of unsealing over 550,000 indictments, the manpower that takes. And it takes a while to get that manpower in place. I don't know how many times I've seen Harmeet Dillon post, hey, if you're an attorney and you're looking for a job, in civil rights or whatever different area, yeah. They need them desperately.
You got that right. Hey, we explained that in great detail on why these election cases didn't go through. You got problems in your county. It's all about the DA. It's a political suicide for them. That's why they're not going to touch it. They're not going to touch an election problem with a 10-foot pole. But hey, Jason, I know you're next. Let me go to Texas Red. He might be on the road, Jason, and then we'll go to my man Ring.
Hey, thank you, Marlon. Actually, you just touched on the base I was coming in on, brother, because you know how close I am with the election fraud that's going on in San Antonio. And that is exactly our issue. Our issue is the case is on the DA's desk. He won't touch it. He will not touch it. We've got the Secretary of State. Greg Abbott's appointee, she herself broke 10 of our Texas election laws. This is the depth of this corruption. None of these DAs, we cannot get justice for all this election fraud. And it is overwhelming proof that we have on this election stuff, guys. They are literally calling Bexar County, which is San Antonio, Texas, the smoking gun of the election fraud. It's a personal friend of mine who actually caught it all. And his name's Weston Martinez. So go follow him and pay attention because he is posting the evidence. Marlon's popped into the space. He's got to see a little bit of it. But guys, we just can't get the justice. And this is even a Republican ran state, y'all. But bear that in mind. And
Well, that's where Paxton's going to have a problem. You know, out of your 234 counties, how many DAs do you have like that, Texas?
it looks like all of them, brother. At least damn near all of them. At least I would say 95 to 98% of our counties and these district attorneys are corrupt as hell. And that's the truth, guys. And that's why I'm with you on all these sealed indictments. I'm with you on this is why it's taking so long, because they do have to cross their T's, dot their I's, and nail these MFers to the wall, because we're not going to get justice, actual justice, through our court system. And that's just the truth until we get rid of all these corrupt DAs. And a lot of them are Soros-backed DAs, y'all. I mean, Texas is full of them. And that's the truth. I mean, they bought Texas. The corruption is there, and it's thick and deep. And I know a lot of you guys have paid attention to some of this election stuff. We've got it. We've got it in multifacets of how they've, from the digital side to the multifacet on each individual. One person votes 5 times. You know, it's just overwhelming, the evidence that is there. And just it's on the DA's desk. They won't touch it. The judges won't do nothing with it. So, yeah, something needs to intervene here, and it has to be our feds. It has to be. And whatever they got to do, marshals, National Guard.
That's what I was thinking. Why aren't the marshals, like, you know, integrated in the problem now? They realize that the county DAs are never going to touch that case. It's, you know, they're sitting. You wonder why our judicial system is so backed up. I mean, dude, this is the exact reason why. And they don't want to touch it, man. Those judges definitely don't want to touch it. They're talking to the DAs. They're all political positions. That's political suicide for them. Okay, Tex, you want to finish up, and then we'll go to Jason, Summer, and then Ringo. Ringo, I know you let Summer go.
I'm going to land right there, Marlon, because, I mean, I was actually just coming in here to listen. And, oh, by the way, my son's doing great, everybody. I want you all to know that for the Feel Good Friday. Thank you for everybody, and thank you for all your prayers. Love you all.
Love you, Texas.
Up.
That's what I was just going to ask, how your son was doing. I'm so happy to hear that. God bless.
He didn't get to walk across the stage, but we wheeled his butt across that stage. And then to come on top of it, he wasn't able to get his associate degrees on the college side for his diesel mechanics. So the school came out and paid they gave him a scholarship for 2 years to go ahead, get his associates, and continue on for his bachelor's in diesel mechanics. So, yeah, everything's good, guys. Thank you. I'm going to land there, Marlon.
Amen, brother. It's good to hear it. Jason, how you doing, man? Welcome.
Thanks, Marlon. I'm doing all right. How's everyone today? Hopefully everybody's good. Can you guys hear me good, loud and clear?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Well, I'm on this space here with you guys as I'm pulling into Costco to fill up gas out here in California. And the only thing I would say to Texas about the fraud going on down there in the elections is hold my beer, because it's out in the open here in California. And, you know, I'm glad at least there's a U.S. attorney on the scene, allegedly, maybe could potentially, you know, possibly do something. I mean, you saw the mayoral race in L.A., and, you know, Spencer Pratt had a really solid shot, and now they somehow edged him out, and the numbers and the charts look like just like the 2020 election, the data dump or the vote dump in the middle of the night or whatever you want to call it. And then the gubernatorial race, I mean, it's still a toss-up. I'm sure they'll find a way to swap the billionaires right at the end there and get Steyer and Becerra on the ticket, and, you know, here goes California again. And it's frustrating. Yeah, we need the feds. We need somebody to come in here and, you know, take the bull by the horns and figure out what the heck's going on, because it's just out in the open now. The fraud. I mean, even Gavin was on the in front of God and everybody saying, you know, we got a break glass scenario here where we can prevent that or whatever. I mean, like, so they're not denying it. And it's crazy. And look, with respect to, you know, the feds and Pam Bondi, you know, I was a little skeptical of Bondi when she was first appointed after the whole Matt Gaetz. I think the Matt Gaetz thing, they floated him out there to give him a way out of Congress so he didn't get in trouble because they were looking into him for some things. And then he became a, you know, a news guy, podcaster. And then Bondi came in, and she was the one part of the deal in Florida with Epstein. You know, the files on my desk, the whole handling of that was, you know, I think not done good in a good way. And then, you know, when Bongino left, I really liked Dan. That, you know, perked my ears up. And then, you know, the CIA invaded Tulsi's office, and then she resigns. And so, like, two of the strongest team members are no longer there. And, you know, yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm a little concerned about the continued direction. You know, I don't know too much about Blanche and you know, and others that are replacing. I don't even know who replaced Bongino. I still have high hopes and faith in Cash. I think he's got his head and heart in the right place. And yeah, there's a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross. But we've been hearing trust the plan for I don't know how long now. And yeah, everyone's a little frustrated, on edge. I'm about to fill up at almost $6 a gallon in gas, you know, and I'm still, you know, trying to hold it down. But it's tough and it's frustrating, and, you know, somebody's got to call somebody and do something, because this can't go on for too much longer.
Well, Jason, there's a lot of people that feel the same way. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, most of what you're seeing at the pump, here we are in Jersey, right? Jersey's one of the higher ones. We're a 405 for regular gasoline, right? So diesel is $4.99 today. That's what it is. So, you know, do I think that Trump's got the right plan? I hope so. And, you know, I see oil coming down. I see little things. I mean, we were told it was going to be a little rough in the beginning, and it's been rough. It's been damn rough. So I think a lot of people are,
I'll tell you, sorry to cut you off, for context here. I just looked at the gas price. I'm going to fill up regular unleaded at Costco, you know, one of the cheaper places, for $5.15 a gallon. Premiums at $5.60 or $5.55. So, you know, when you're talking about pain and trying to hold it down and toe the line, you know, welcome to California. It's insane.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, it is crazy talk. So, Yo, I feel your pain. Summer, would you like to jump in there? And we'll go to you, Ringo. How you doing, Summer? Good to see you.
I'm amazing. Texas Red, keep an eye out for a statement coming out from Greg Abbott today. It should be today. I think that it might make you a little bit happier. I can't say too much, but he should be releasing something, and it will absolutely 1,000,000% affect elections here in Texas and some other things. So just keep your eye out. I actually just went to look, and he hasn't said anything yet, but I know it's coming out today, and it is. It will rock. It will make some people not so happy, and then others of us very happy. But keep an eye on that because everything you said is correct.
Well, from what I've seen, ma'am, Greg Abbott should actually be in the runoff. And that's the truth. We had a great candidate, grassroots. So, and they should be in the runoff, or they should have been in the runoff from what we see.
Well,
Period.
you know, I agree and disagree. I think that the more I've looked into it with Doc and stuff, I feel like that really was kind of like a psyop here on X, that he had so much popularity, but in our communities, nobody knew who he was. And I asked. But I do think I'm not a Greg fan whatsoever. I'm a fan of what he's going to announce, but I think he's trying to save face, if you will, with regard to some decisions that he's probably being forced into right now because he knows that at a grassroots level, he's lost us and we hate him. And if that man ever has aspirations of being the president, which I'm sure he does because he's talked about it in the past, he's crazy. It'll never happen. But at the same time, I think that, he's going to try and do some things a little different going forward because I think he knows that he has lost a majority of his base, and rightfully so. He has, as a quote unquote conservative, I mean, give me a break. Like, you're not conservative. You have handed over the state.
Summer, one, don't go anywhere because I got a quick question I got to ask, and I got to step out of the truck, and I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. We'll hold on to that one for when he gets back, Summer. So let's go with raging while we're waiting for Marlon to get back.
So we have an active shooter situation. I put it in the Jumbotron in Midland, Texas. Happened maybe about 12 minutes back, 13 minutes back. Keep your eyes open for that. I don't know if they're trying to spark something out of Midland for what's happening over there in the trial. Also, a lot of people never, they forget what we voted for, some little things that I guess you could call it little things. To me, it's a big thing. The dissolvement and the uncovering of the gain of function labs today, DNI Tulsi Gabbard, that's still there, is releasing, okay, all the DNI files regarding 130 international gain of function labs that were funded by the United States and stuff like that. It's out there. I reposted it on my profile. I'll throw it up in the purple pill for you guys to check it out. Don't forget that the COVID thing was one of the big things that we were after. A lot of people like to, gas is expensive. Yeah, man, I'm in California too, Jason. It's horrible. And I drive a ton, a ton. And our trucks, they use diesel. It's bad. And so you got to think about that. And I get what you're saying. When you touch my pocketbook, it affects my life and affects my family. But we have to look at the positives that we're getting. You know what came out of this California thing? The ability for Trump to say there are charges coming versus officials and the cheating that's in California. He said that today. So if Trump says it, he's got it in the bag. He wouldn't say it if he didn't. I think that they're coming for the California election officials and they're going to uncover the election fraud. And I'm still waiting for the Supreme Court to end mail-in voting. That's where most of it occurs. Fake addresses, fake people voting, blah, blah, blah. We do that, we'll be in good work. Thanks, guys. That's what I was saying. Keep an eye on that active shooter.
Hey,
Yes,
thanks,
we will.
Ringo.
Thanks, raging. Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Marlon. Go ahead.
No worries. And, obviously follow Ringo. I know you're probably going to have a space at 1 o'clock there. So keep on the lookout. And Ringo, thanks for coming in. to back to Summer, and I'm sorry, we'll go to Sovereign, then True. Summer, you know, I hear Doc, you know, and I hear Texas. I hear the frustration that came out of, hey, that campaign, just that, you know, but what you guys did was you captured a vote share there, right? And really what I would love to see Doc do, and I would guarantee it would only strengthen his card, his vote card, when he goes up in front of the election board there and is nominated to run for governor again. He should go and try and support as many undercards and local politics as he can. If he did that from now until the 4 years that seat comes up again, because that's what it may take. If he did that in every one of the elections, he would win hands down in Texas. If he went and just supported those undercards, people remember that stuff. I'm sorry, she dropped down.
She just dropped down. Maybe she'll come back up.
Real quick, in case anyone was wondering, it cost me $96 to fill out my Chevy Colorado. Not a big Chevy either, midsize, even on the smaller. $96. Thank you. Drive through.
I got a 30-gallon tank in my diesel truck. I just put $50 in it, and I got 3/8 of a tank. So we're still at $5, so I feel your pain. Sovereign, go ahead. How you doing? Jump in.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up a couple things that you guys were talking about. So the other day I went to the store and I was like, oh, peaches are in. So I grabbed 2 of them, you know, and like I'm checking out, and 2 peaches came to $5.15. I looked at the lady and I was like, you know what, take it back. I don't want it. I'm not paying $5.15 for 2 frickin' peaches, man. And here's the other thing. So Trump went ahead and really helped the oil companies, like opened up pipelines, like he knows it's going to be good for America, all this stuff, but it also helped all these big oil companies in the United States. And how do they repay him? They pump up the prices, and they're literally, you know, they're doing what they're doing with the gas prices. Then that in turn, you know, the cost of groceries goes up because of shipping and yada, 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 right? I'm just shocked that he isn't like speaking on this. I mean, they are price gouging the American people, and that's the thanks they give Trump. Like, it's just mind-boggling. Like, the petrodollar needs to die. These big oil companies, you know, after everything that the man that we put in office has done for them, this is how they repay not only Trump, but the American people who voted for him. I get so irritated with that. The other thing too is, you know, these states, like, you know, I'll hear things like Florida did this and they made this law and it's so cool and it's so great. And it's like, why aren't we just making it across the board? Like, I mean, it's like we're patchworking states into how we want them. Why aren't these good laws like, you know, oh, I don't know, here's one. If you rape a child, you get the death penalty, period. Why is that not national? That's the kind of stuff that I get really frustrated about, is that it's like, okay, well, I can't up and move to Florida, you know, but they're putting in really good laws into place. And I'm living in a state that seemingly is supposed to be red. And I'm finding out that it's a bunch of rhinos, because I've been looking into, we have what's called a chief commissioner of ethics for the universities of the state that I live in. Well, I happened to look him up the other day. He uses pronouns, and he has a book list on Instagram that would make your toes curl. It is so disturbing and disgusting. And this is in a really red state. So I feel like some of these laws and things, they need to be all the way across the board. It shouldn't just be state by state.
Yeah, it's frustrating, because you think that it's a red state, you're going there, and then there's things that are going on too. So I hear you on that. Back to your peaches. Yeah, they're going to do all this price gouging, just like we saw the prices of the gas go up. There was no reason for the gas prices to go up. Here, they did that for certain their own selfish reasons, and you know, they're never going to give Trump that win. They're never going to give him. He's doing a good job on anything. They would rather sink and die before they do that. It's a shame. It's a shame. He's all he's trying to do is help the American people, but it's being so misconstrued and being so twisted that people don't understand that this is really benefiting for us and it will benefit us in the future. And then they're going to do everything that they can to try to make it look like he's really not doing anything. And that's a shame. Yep. Very much a shame.
So, hey, if there's any indication, look, if you don't think the tensions in Iran is getting better, there's something happening because oil is now down to $77 a barrel. So something's going on, some kind of stability is happening, traffic is getting through, and you're going to see some of these energy prices fall. Really, Jason, I'm going to let you go next only because California, mostly what you're seeing is your state tax. It's your state legislature that's actually proposing those taxes on the gas.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, I was going to chime in on the whole California. I think there's like 80 cents. So basically 20% of what I just paid at the pump was pretty much a tax, gas tax. And they asked all of the gubernatorial candidates during a debate, would you suspend the gas tax in the current situation? And all of the Dems said no, and somehow still managed to get a large percentage of the vote, despite saying no to suspending, the gas tax. So, yeah, I mean, and then, the money and what they're doing with it is just insane. I mean, we paid for this high-speed rail to nowhere, and we've gone really, really fast. So, but where's the money at? What are they doing? We had I think it was Arcadia, California. We had a mayor that was on the CCP payroll, and she just got, I think, 5 years in prison, and her cohort got 10, or maybe it was the other way around. But a literal CCP operative was the mayor of this town in California. Like what in the holy hell is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Like, is that not enough for the feds to go, hey, we got a foreign government here that has people on council seats and mayors of towns. Do you think we should do something about it, or should we wait till they take over the whole state? Over to you. On election day, I had to call the Republican party where I'm registered and like, hey, there's 6 judge seats and you've only talked about 3 or given endorsements for 3. What about the other 3? I would argue the judges are almost more important than the Soros-funded DAs because they're the ones that are being the activists. The DAs are bringing the cases, but the judges are the ones making the damn call. And it's like the RNC, at least in California, is just sitting on their heels. They've written us off, and as California goes, so will the rest of the country. The playbook is here. We're ground zero for theft and fraud and grift, and nobody's coming here to look under the hood. Well, they're starting to. They quickly moved with this U.S. attorney out here in California in the Los Angeles office that's supposedly investigating. We'll see what comes of it. But, look, I'm still trying to, keep the faith. I still support President Trump and a lot of his policies. I do think there were some missteps. I do think the base is fractured, and there's several points of fracture. The war in Iran, the support for Israel in perpetuity, without question. The Pentagon said that they were spying on us, and then we merged technologies and militaries or whatever we did. Like it's just, and the deep state still has a very, very strong hand in what's going on. I mean, they raided Tulsi's office. The CIA isn't Ratcliffe, one of our boys, head of the CIA, who gave the green light to go and raid Tulsi's office. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of freaking question marks. I can't stand here and go, oh, I'm just going to blindly, follow the white hats are coming and Q's right and trust the plan. Like, come on already. What? I mean,
amen.
Dot your I's and cross your T's, but can we fucking move it along? Excuse my French.
Whoa.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, but Jason, I feel your frustration. Listen, New Jersey's the same exact way. We just ushered in socialism into the Northeast, New York and New Jersey. Like, you can't imagine how bad it's stacked against us as citizens. We're in a state, they want to take my fireplace away, right? We've been burning wood since the beginning of time, dude. I burn wood constantly. I save thousands and thousands of dollars by burning wood. I'm going to continue. The balls of the guy to come up and give me some kind of citation on me burning my fireplace, he's going to get an earful. whether or not I get that citation or not. But like, dude, it's not just California.
They were talking about banning barbecues. They were talking about banning barbecuing in California. Like they were floating that idea. Like, I mean, are you serious? You're floating the idea of banning the art and the act of barbecuing in your backyard. You know what I mean? Like what? I just don't. I don't. And I mean, the only way that it's possible is that the dead, the illegals, and the people that don't exist have the loudest voice in California, and here we are. And until the voter rolls are purged, I mean, there were 20 million people on Social Security that were dead collecting benefits. Somebody that was 300 and something years old. That was one of the other things. The early on fracture with Trump and Elon, like that to me was like also a kink in the armor. And they've just been like slow rolling these little kinks here or chinks in the armor. And I'm just going, God bless and keep Ted Kennedy or Robert RFK Jr. in his position, because I feel like he's really taking it to him over there at the HHS and with the vaccines and all that. He's the most popular candidate or cabinet member as far as I know, and he's got the biggest bone to pick with the deep state.
Excuse me, Jason. Yeah, no, we know exactly. I mean, we are your bookend. We are on the other side. We will be on the East Coast, but Mikey Sherrill's doing the same thing. She just increased the deep, for the illegals, $20 million and cutting funds and cutting programs for the American in New Jersey, for the citizens in New Jersey. She's cutting programs to supply money for the illegals. It's their bread and butter. So we know all about this. It's the same thing. It's just a different animal. It's in a different state, but it's happening everywhere. And that's why it's just important to keep fighting within your own state and doing it, because Trump is not going to save everybody, and he is not going to come into your backyard and save you. That is our job to do. So yeah, we know all about this.
He talks about the fracture in MAGA, right? I mean, that's basically what Jason said was, hey, the kinks in the armor all the way along the way. Well, I can tell you they had some paid operatives to help them, right? Think about back here, the Israeli-Palestine talk. Think back to all of the problems that we've been discussing with vaccines. There's paid operatives come in and change people's minds. That's what they do. That they're paid to do this. So half of the hysteria out there is us being stupid-ass, gullible Americans and taking everything their CIA embedding, right? Because that's what they're doing. Dude, they're giving you one little thing of evidence, and you're building the entire case on this one small little piece that you feel that at the end it's not a real piece of evidence. They built the entire case on an illusion. There's a lot of problems there.
Oh, we lost you, Marlon.
Down to the end of it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Who's it, Sovereign?
So back to the taxes real quick. So it seems as if these, blue states, especially that are raising taxes, whether it's property taxes, of course, there's multiple reasons, but because Trump has put the chokehold on funding, they don't have a way to get their funding to pay for their rioters and their, dirty deeds and stuff. So they're skimming off of the taxes by continually raising property taxes, gas taxes, because they're not getting the money flow to come in anymore. So that's literally how they're getting some kind of funding so that they continue with their narrative and their propaganda and paying their rioters and, doing those dirty deeds. That's why I don't believe in taxes, but I think that's where we need to head next, is because that's now how they are continuing the efforts that they're making, since all the rest of the other funding is getting cut off.
I pay more in tax. I pay close to $10,000 a year. My tax payment is higher than my mortgage, and my services are going down. Administration stays the same in my county, but my services in the county go down. Sure, go ahead.
I can't even get a mortgage. I can't even get a mortgage out here. I mean, I make mid six figures, mid 100s, And every house in California and Southern California is $1 million, and I only qualify for an $800,000 purchase price. I mean, what am I supposed to do? And I make decent money. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Sorry.
Can we all agree that I might have to let go of Bloody Mary? Does anybody know who Bloody Mary is?
Sorry, I removed him. I tried to remove him before, but he got brought back up, so I removed him again.
I got that. Well, yeah. Has he been a problem in the past? I don't think so. Well, maybe I'm wrong. True.
Yeah, his face is acting weird. Did I get kicked off last time or something? Or maybe it was just messed up. I got dropped down right after I talked, and then you guys went on to a different subject.
I don't know, True. I even got dropped twice, so I don't know. There's some problems today.
The last Jason, I think it was, saying he can't buy a house. Yeah, I mean, right now is a good time to buy. If you could go talk to people that are like, a lot of people are like losing their houses right now. You can help them out, tell them to go get a place, and you get their place. I mean, you could do some things right now without like going through an official way to get a house. Buy a fixer up or fix it yourself. Don't get a trimmed out house. Don't get a house that anybody even touched. You want a trimmed out, an ugly house, and go fix that thing up yourself. And you can buy a house right now. I got to go real quick, but I want to go. If Rico could open up his mic if he wants, I want to ask him about those biolabs. Are they talking about the ones in Ukraine too? When you talked about that, if he's there.
Yes, sir. Sorry if you hear me funny. I put my earbuds in, but yeah, that's what there is. The international ones.
Yep, I was just talking about that, Rigo. I said China. Remember China?
Well, wait a minute. What about Ridley, California, that they found one there? They found them in Houston. I would guarantee.
Yes, right in my backyard.
I know that you're going to find evidence that it's going to be in every one of those major cities, Philadelphia, New York. You don't think these clinics are there? They are. And you know what? We'll see. That story's a little old. That should have been rectified years ago. In my opinion, Ringo. I think and that's why Putin's story is a little weird. I mean, if Mexico was building biolabs on their border, do you think that America would stand for it? That's the same kind of shit. I heard all this shit in other spaces today about China and Russia. Man, I can't make heads or tails of it. So we're going to see. We're going to see in a big way. Ukraine was on there talking, and it's so stupid. Look, Putin invaded Ukraine to take over the world's breadbasket. The 1/3, the Donbass region, is where they grow most of the food for the world. So you don't think these plays? We're so stupid. It's so stupid even to argue this. We don't know.
No, you said Putin took over Ukraine for no. He knew about the freaking biolabs. That's why he's doing it. That's why he called it a special operation. But I gotta go. I gotta just talk about 3 other things really quick, and you guys can talk.
True. We're right at the end of this, dude. We'll bring them up tomorrow. Bring them in Ringo Space. Gotta go.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Thanks, man. Jason, you want to say something quick, and then we're gonna wrap.
Yeah, I mean, Reedley, California, that's right in my backyard. And I remember that news that it came out because it was on local news. There was a garden hose coming out of a stucco in a building in a weird way, and some inspector randomly driving by happened upon it. And this is in the heart of farmland in California. And there were rats with HIV virus, with the COVID virus, with a handful of other things. And it was a Chinese company, and it led back to a P.O. box. I don't even know if they tracked the guy down or what's come of it, but it just got buried. And it was you talk about Ukraine and breadbasket, the Central Valley here in California is the breadbasket of the planet. And there was a Chinese lab in the middle of all of it with rats and things infested with all kinds of different biological agents. So, I mean, it's insane. And look, as far as Ukraine goes, they agreed, Europe, the whole West and Russia agreed to the Minsk Accords in 2013, I believe. which is no NATO for Ukraine, neutrality, and no military buildup. And then the West proceeded to not implement it. And then they did a coup, and John McCain was there cheering them on. And then they put in Zelensky, and he started attacking the Donbass, which is full of ethnic Russians. And Putin went in there, if he went in there to take the land, whatever, I think he could have mopped up and taken all over Ukraine if he wanted to, but he's shown restraint. And I'm not pro-Russia or pro-Putin, but I'm just spitting the facts here. He showed restraint and was just trying to protect the ethnic Russians and expose the European game plan, which was to continue to cause war and chaos, because Europe is under a tremendous sovereign debt crisis. And these crazies over there, their neocons think they can take over Russia and split the spoils because their pensions are unfunded and their parliaments are going to be stormed with people with pitchforks going, where's our retirement? And so if they would have simply implemented the Minsk Accords, we would not have had the Russia Ukraine war. And sorry, one last point and I'll land it. What I find strange is for the 4 years of Trump's first presidency, he was a Russian agent, right? And then Mueller came out and there was a nothing burger. And then in July, he has a phone call with who? Zelensky, that he later gets impeached for. And then 18 months into Biden's presidency, Russia and Zelensky are at war. That's kind of strange. I'm just going to leave that out there.
Well, you know what? I don't think we have all the information. Again, I think, Putin, I think there were several reasons. I think him and Xi have made a deal to feed China out of the Donbass region. And, if really people went back and looked at the history of Ukraine on how bad the eastern part of that country hated the Donbass region. They bombed them for years. 2014, there was a French journalist that did a documentary on it and showed you. So I don't understand why the problem is now. And you're right. When the USSR broke up, right, Ukraine was part of USSR, right? There was most of the Russians in Ukraine that didn't want to go with Ukraine. So that's a subject for another day. Let's, Julie, I got a rock here. I got an appointment I got to get to, and I appreciate you coming up and co-host today.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Another great space. It was a good Friday. It wasn't too heavy. Guys, have a great weekend. Just remember, it is our president's birthday this weekend. It's also Flag Day. It's going to be a big sports weekend, so just be careful because there's lots of sports going on, big sports with, watch parties and all that stuff. But everybody stay safe. Have a great weekend. Monday will be here, and so will all the problems. So if you liked everybody that was up here talking today, follow them. And please go down to that purple bubble one more time and like and reshare the space. I didn't get to really say that too much today. Let's get this out there because there are people that come in after work and they like to listen to this space. Thank you. Have a great weekend and God bless America.
Well, God bless America. Truth, did you want to jump in real quick on our way out the door?
No, just remember, don't sweat the small stuff and just realize everything is small stuff. Put it all in perspective. This is a ultimate fight of good and evil. And guess what? We got the script. God wins. So put God first in life. It makes a difference.
Amen, Truth. Well, hey, if you got some time, jump into Ringo's space. I'm sure they'll be going here shortly after we close up here. So the CSN network, I always think of Comcast Sportsnet, CSN. I like the name, dude. So, hey, if you're looking for spaces, maybe that's one you can go to and add it. So, hey, enjoy it.
And one more thing, Marlon. Remember, the state nut is a hazelnut.
Oh, God, hazelnut. I hate hazelnut.
Hey, Marlon, they opened up, by the way, they opened up the SpaceX stock. So it's now rolling. It's already up 22%.
There you go.
And it's a filbert, not a hazelnut. We do filberts out here in Oregon. I don't really know if we do filberts or hazelnuts, but I got them in the woods. I once had filberts. But I do want to say something. There's a lot going on. And if you're playing on X, you're just going to get more and more pissed off because every day there's some new nastiness going on. But you know what I encourage people to do? Get involved in your local politics. when you're doing something, you don't feel as helpless as when you're doing something, when you're making a difference. You know, I even have my own phone number on our county's Facebook page. That's taking a chance, isn't it now? But you know what? When I get little old people from somewhere calling saying, hey, I can't get hold of anybody at this place and we need some help on voting, and they call me on my home phone. And by the way, your home phone can do more than just look stuff up on the internet and take pictures. It can actually make phone calls. Stop texting, stop, posting, and actually call people on the phone. You know, our county right now, we have a phone tree list, and you know what's cool? We're not just using our phones for scrolling and whatnot. We're calling our people. We're calling our precinct committee people and getting them involved, inviting them to activities. And when my phone rings, unless it says scam, I answer it, because talking to people in person, let's use our phones for what they're really meant to be. Make phone calls, talk to people in your community, get them involved. Don't let them just feel helpless. So that's what we're doing up here in Oregon and our county. And it's working. We're happy about it. And we don't feel so
Amen.
hopeless.
Well, you know what, Susan? That's great advice, and when you go stick your nose around and then, listen, there's a lot of people come onto this app and talk, right? They don't walk the walk. They definitely talk the talk. They don't walk the walk. Hey, a special little shout out. Thanks a lot for seeing you there, Texas Red. I haven't seen you in a while. We'll definitely keep an eye out for Martinez's spaces there. I'm hoping what Summer said as far as some of the information that the governor's putting out today. We'll see. Sounds like a bombshell. So good to see you, Texas. Hey, everybody, yeah, man.
Really quick, text me after the space real quick. I lost your contact, bro. My phone fell in the water. I got a new phone.
Oh, that's worse than losing your wallet. Well, hey, I do enjoy everybody that came up today. Summer, great to see you. Ringo, Truth, Susan, Jason, Julie, have a great weekend. Don't work too hard. God bless America. Maybe we'll see you on Monday. Probably going to be Truth. I don't know. Maybe Monday or Tuesday. I don't know. So we'll see. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You too, Marlon. Thanks for the space. And no nuts in California. We're all stocked up on crazy. Thank you.